Pangasan. Article urges Nigerians to sweep away Tinubu's inept government at next polls. Details coming up now. The news today begins with Kogi State government expressing its deep sadness over the boat mishap that occurred on rivers Niger involving traders traveling from Ibaji local government area of Kogi State to Ilushi Market in Edo State. In a statement issued in the early hours of Wednesday, the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Kingsley Fanwo, described the incident as unfortunate. The Commissioner confirmed that the death toll from the accident has risen to 26. He added that Alhaji Ahmed Usman Nududu, the executive governor of Kogi State, has expressed deep condolences to the bereaved families and has directed relevant agencies, including the state emergency management agencies, to work with local authorities to provide immediate support and relief to those affected. Confirming the incident, the chairman of Ibaji local government area, Honorable Ige Emmanuel, described the incident as the most disastrous in the history of the local government, saying many people lost their lives. He will recall that over the past year, numerous boat mishaps have occurred in Kogi, Niger, and other riverine states, resulting in significant loss of life. Meanwhile, armed bandits have attacked Magama local government area of Niger State, killing 3 persons and rustling over 1,000 cows in a fresh wave of violence. The incident, which began around 11 a.m. on Tuesday, September 30, spread across Ibeta, Salka, and Kosa communities and was still ongoing at the time of filing this report. A resident who spoke to journalists said the bandits vowed to storm Kura community later in the evening. According to him, many villagers fled into the bush for safety, while others locked themselves indoors as the attackers continued their rampage. Meanwhile, Nigerians have continued to grapple with incessant insecurity in different communities. In recent attack, gunmen on Sunday killed 12 people in Okeode in Ifeludun local government area of Kwara State. They also conducted an unspecified number of people, abducted an unspecified number of people, with several others injured in the deadly incident. During the incident, the armed bandits in their numbers reportedly stormed the community in the early hours, targeting newly recruited forest guards, hunters and vigilantes who were guiding the area, among other civilians. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu has warned that the scale of killings and bloodshed in northern Nigeria has placed the region under a spiritual curse, stressing that the crisis must now be treated as a national emergency. Dogara, speaking on Tuesday during a panel session at the Nigerian Investment and Industrialization Summit NNIIS 2025, organized by the Northern Elders Forum NAF in Abuja, said the situation had gone beyond ordinary socio-political concerns. Meanwhile, in his Independence Day broadcast earlier today, President Tinubu claimed that his administration has worked hard to tackle the security challenges facing parts of the country. The president stated that peace has returned to the liberated communities in the northeast and northwest region.
Working diligently to enhance national security, ensuring our economic experiences improved growth and performance. The officers and men of our armed forces and other security agencies are working tirelessly and making significant sacrifices to keep us safe. They are winning the war against terrorism, banditry, and other violent crimes. We see their victories in their blood and sweat to stamp out Boko Haram terror in the northeast, IPOB ESN terror in southeast, and banditry and kidnapping. We must continue to celebrate their gallantry and salute their courage on behalf of a grateful nation. Peace has returned to 100 of our liberated communities in the northwest and northeast, and thousands of our people have returned safely to their homes.
President Bola Tinubu has claimed that to support poor and vulnerable Nigerians, 330 billion naira has been disbursed to 8 million households in the past few months. The president made this known during his Independence Day broadcast earlier today. He noted that many of those households have received either 1 or 2 out of 3 batches of 25,000 naira each.
Under the Social Investment Program, to support poor households and vulnerable Nigerians, 330 billion has been disbursed to 8 million households, many of whom have received either one or two out of 3 tranches of the 25,000 naira each. Coal mining recovered dramatically from a 22% decline in Q1 to 57.5% growth in second quarter of 2025, becoming one of the Nigeria's fastest growing sectors. The solid mineral sector is now pivotal in our economy, encouraging value-added production of minerals extracted from our soil. The administration is expanding transport infrastructure across the country, covering rail, road, airports, seaports, rail and...
Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today stated that with the economic reforms undertaken by his administration, the worst is now behind us. The president gave the assurance in his nationwide broadcast to celebrate Nigeria's 65th Independence Day anniversary. While saluting Nigerians for their endurance, support and understanding, the president said yesterday's pains were giving way to relief.
I'm pleased to report that we have finally turned the corner. The worst is over, I say. Yesterday's pains are giving way to relief. I salute your endurance, support, and understanding. I will continue to work for you and justify the confidence you repose in me to steer the ship of our nation to a safer harbor.
VOP News was also in the streets of Lagos this morning to ask Lagosians their thoughts on the president's broadcast on Nigeria's 65th Independence Day anniversary. Let's take a listen.
Today is Nigerian Independence Day. Okay, what me I feel like at 65, we should know where we're coming from and where we're heading to. But right now in Nigeria, I don't see where we're heading to. Because even individual person at 65, you should know exactly what you're going to, exactly what they've achieved in life at 65. So sometimes when I see any man, any woman being at the age of 65 that have not achieved, me personally as a woman, I will abuse them that. What have you been doing since the past when you are 1 year old to now 65? So we should know, we should get ourselves better, like 65 years at age in the country where we don't even have anything where to go to. We don't have any plan for anything. Even children right now, they don't even know way forward. All they know is that, okay, we are going to school. They don't even know about what plans do my parents have for me tomorrow. That's exactly what I feel about independence right now.
65. Well, I can say we are progressing as a nation, but the lapses of the past leaders, you understand? Maybe that is what has brought us to this level. And with the two, to my own understanding, and the 2 years administrative of the present administrative, I think we are heading in the best direction. And I hope maybe in the next 2-3 years, everything with the way we can see things, the way things is going on, I believe, well, with time, everything will get better. That's it.
8%. Nigeria is a good country. Please, it's my country. But why? May I know you first? 65 years. Is older than me standing here. But why is it that Nigeria cannot develop? Is the question. Why is it that some of us were hungry, some of us were doing this thing, but I plead to Nigeria, my country. So my own contribution is say, if you can forward my own idea to the person in concern, let them try to lead us well. That is the major issue. Lead us well. How can you tell me, say, somebody is doing politics and is not have cabinet? Everybody decide any work they do, but now we common people, they suffer. After them, we will elect them to go and live for National Assembly. Is it a good thing?
Now, in a recent development, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has written to the Nigerian Medical Association alleging grave medical negligence, falsification of his health records, and intimidation of independent doctors while in the custody of the Department of State Services. In a letter which was dated September 29, 2025, and addressed to the NMA president of the association's national secretariat in Abuja, Kanu said his health has deteriorated severely since his abduction in Kenya and subsequent detention in Nigeria. He urged the NMA to urgently intervene, protect independent medical practitioners, and release the findings of a recent medical assessment conducted by the association. He accused the DSS appointed doctors, particularly a particular Dr. Nasiru Mohammed, of falsifying his potassium test results and ignoring life-threatening symptoms such as fainting, chest pain, and severe lightheadedness. Meanwhile, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, the Apex Igbo Social-Cultural Organization, also accused governors, lawmakers, traditional rulers, and religious leaders from the southeast of abandoning Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. The accusation was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, a faction, Okechukwu Isiguzoro, and national spokesperson of the factional Ohanaeze Ndigbo organization, Chineyez Ohia. The group said while political leaders in other regions have taken bold steps to defend their people, Igbo leaders have chosen silence and token gestures. In a statement on Wednesday, Ohanaeze also said the governors in the north have engaged in dialogue with individuals linked to violent acts, while southwest leaders mobilized in unity to secure the release of Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho. The group said Kanu, who has been in detention since 2021, has not enjoyed the same level of commitment from leaders of the southeast. Now, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused President Bola Tinubu's administration of abandoning Nigerians to hunger, insecurity, and worsening hardship. In a statement issued today to mark Nigeria's 65th Independence Day, Atiku lamented that despite the country's vast wealth and resources, citizens have been left to suffer under poor leadership. He argued that rather than safeguarding lives and livelihoods, the Tinubu administration has stood by as citizens are overwhelmed by hunger and attacks from bandits. Atiku urged Nigerians not to lose hope in democracy, stressing that they retain the power to vote out bad leadership through the ballot box. Reflecting on Nigeria's journey since independence, the former vice president described the country as a giant moving too slowly as a result of leadership failure. Nonetheless, Atiku expressed optimism that with the right leadership, Nigeria can overcome its challenges and rise again.
Meanwhile, Balaji Abdullahi, spokesperson of the coalition-backed African Democratic Congress (ADC), has faulted President Bola Tinubu's Independence Day speech, saying the celebration is not about his government but the country. President Bola Tinubu had, in his Independence Day broadcast earlier today, highlighted the key reforms and economic milestones his administration has recorded in the past 28 months. But Abdullahi disagreed with the president's submission, saying the president's speech writers failed to understand the historical significance of this moment. According to him, instead of speaking to the history of the nation, President Tinubu dwelt more on his administration's performance. He added that all the things the president mentioned as achievements in the speech are superficial and propaganda, arguing that most of what the president said regarding the economy do not reflect the reality of Nigerians. The opposition party spokesperson said he found it shocking that the president mentioned insecurity in passing when every single day Nigerians live in fear. He concluded that President Tinubu spoke as a party man rather than as a national leader, stressing that the speech failed to speak to our past and inspire our future. Meanwhile, the federal government has brokered peace between Dangote refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan. This development has put an end to a labor dispute that threatened fuel supply stability. After 2 days of talks on Monday and Tuesday, the parties reached an agreement that disengaged workers will be reabsorbed into other Dangote Group companies with no loss of pay. The conciliation meeting was convened by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Maigari Dingyadi. The high-level session was attended by the National Security Advisor and others. In his remarks, Dingyadi reminded both parties that the right of workers to unionize in accordance with the Nigerian law must be respected. In a recent development, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, has disclosed that nearly 70% of funds shared at monthly Federal Account Allocation Committee FAC meetings now come from taxes collected by the agency. Adedeji disclosed this in an interview marking his 2 years in office, where he said the surge in tax revenue has strengthened fiscal stability across the country. According to him, improved collections have enabled 30 states to repay 1.85 trillion naira in debt within the past 18 months. He noted that debt servicing costs that once consumed 90% of government revenue have now dropped to about 50%, and external revenues have also grown on the back of stronger fiscal stability. The FIRS boss praised President Bola Tinubu's administration for creating a tax environment that eases compliance. You're currently listening to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we're heading to the Independence Day news analysis segment. Stay tuned.
The name Nigeria was suggested by British journalist Flora Shaw in the 1890s. She referred to the area as Nigeria after the Niger River, which dominates much of the country's landscape. More than 250 ethnic tribes call present-day Nigeria home. Nigeria, a former British colony created in 1914, gained independence in 1960 after many decades of anti-colonial struggle. In 1959, with Sir James Robertson as the last colonial governor-general and the representative of the crown, Nigeria held a parliamentary election that would formally launch it into independence under the leadership of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Mr. Robertson served from 1955 to 1960 before handing over to Nigeria's first and last Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. Mr. Balewa was elected Prime Minister in 1960 after the coming together of the Northern People's Congress, the National Council of Nigerian Citizens, and some smaller political parties. He was supported to become Prime Minister by his principal, Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, who chose to remain the Premier of the Northern region. With Mr. Balewa as Prime Minister and head of government, Nnamdi Azikiwe of the NCNC was appointed Governor General at independence in 1960 to replace Mr. Robertson. In 1963, Nigeria became a republic, and Mr. Azikiwe became the president as the Queen of England ceased to be Nigeria's head of state. Nigeria then became a republic on the 1st of October 1963. Mr. Balewa remained Prime Minister and head of government, while Mr. Azikiwe was appointed President and head of state. On the 30th of December 1964, Nigeria held its first post-independence elections, but it was marred by violence. The NPC again won the highest number of seats in the federal parliament, and Mr. Balewa was reappointed Prime Minister. The elections were boycotted in some parts of the country and were not held until the 18th of March 1865 in some constituencies in the Eastern region, Lagos and Midwestern region. About 10 months later, on the 15th of January 1966, a coup d'etat led by Kaduna Nzogu, a major in the army, brought the First Republic to an end. This coup led to the death of Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, Premier of the Northern Region Ahmadu Bello, Premier of the Western Region Samuel Akintola, and some top military officers. Mr. Gowon had the longest reign at a stretch for any head of state or president since independence. As head of state in 1967, he started a process which forever changed Nigeria. He divided the 4 regions of the country into 12 states on the 27th of May. 3 days after, Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, the military governor of the Eastern region, declared the region's secession, naming it the Republic of Biafra. A civil war then broke out on the 6th of July 1967 and lasted for 30 months until the 13th of January 1970, when the key actors on the Biafran side surrendered to the Nigerian government. The war officially ended on 15th of July 1970. But has the war been ended since then? On July 29, 1975, Mr. Gowon was ousted in a bloodless coup that ushered in Murtala Muhammad. Mr. Muhammad created a new federal capital in 1976 to replace Lagos and created 7 new states, bringing the number of states to 19. In 1978, the Federal Electoral Commission was constituted by the Obasanjo regime to conduct elections for the return of civil rule. In the general elections of 1979, Shehu Shagari of the National Party of Nigeria emerged as president. Now, the National Party of Nigeria emerged victorious in the presidential election, and Shehu Shagari became the first democratically elected president. On the 4th of October 1979, Mr. Obasanjo handed over to the new president, marking the beginning of the Nigerian Second Republic after 13 years of the first military interregnum. On the 27th of August 1985, Army Chief Ibrahim Babangida ousted Mr. Buhari in a palace coup, named himself the president. Mr. Babangida created 2 new states in 1987, bringing the number of states in the country to 21. In April 1990, a coup attempt led by Gideon Oka failed. Mr. Oka was later executed alongside 48 soldiers who were involved in the plot in 1990. On the 27th of August 1991, Mr. Babangida created additional 9 states to bring the total to 30 states. On the 26th of August 1993, Mr. Babangida stepped aside amidst an upheaval across the country and appointed Ernest Shonikon, a former chairman, managing director of the United African Company of Nigeria, UAC PLC, as the head of an interim national government. On the 15th of May 1994, pro-democracy agitators, mainly from the southern part of the country, formed the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO. The organization led the campaign against the Abacha junta. It called on Mr. Abacha to step down and install the winner of the June 12, 1993 election, Mr. Abiola, as president. Abacha died suddenly a month earlier on the 8th of June 1998, and Abdusalami Abubakar, another army general, took over as head of state. He was Mr. Abacha's chief of defense staff, but chose to swiftly transfer power to civilians. He organized a short transition program that led to elections from the last quarter of 1998. Mr. Abubakar handed over to Olusegun Obasanjo on the 29th of May 1999. The former military head of state had won the presidential election that was held earlier that year. On the 29th of May 2007, a new elected president was inaugurated in the person of Umaru Yar'Adua of the People's Democratic Party, marking a historic first civilian-to-civilian transition in Nigeria. On the 23rd of November 2009, Mr. Yar'Adua left Nigeria for medical treatment in Saudi Arabia and was never seen again in public. On February 9, 2010, the National Assembly, invoking the doctrine of necessity, declared the Vice President, Goodluck Jonathan, acting president following months of uncertainty after Mr. Yar'Adua's health. Then, Mr. Buhari was sworn in as president on the 29th of May 2015, marking the beginning of an 8-year presidency following his re-election in 2019. Mr. Buhari's tenure was characterized by a high debt burden, unemployment, an increase in kidnapping and banditry, and shrinking civic space. On May 29, 2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in as Nigeria's 16th head of state since 1960 and the 5th president since the return to civil rule in 1999. However, the question to answer is this: is Nigeria truly independent? With the rising spate of insecurity, unemployment, ethnic tension, religious tension, devaluation of the naira, deteriorating public facilities, daily consumption percentage barely 5%, has Nigeria grown and learned from the mistakes of its former leaders? We are in a spirit of independence, but Nigeria has a long way to go. Nigerians who are dogged, resilient, persistent, hopeful, are waiting for the drop of water to actually quench the thirst of true independence. Nigeria at 65. Are we truly independent? Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. And this is from VOP 90.3 FM News Team. right, thank you for staying with us. This is indeed a special program for Nigeria 65 Independence Day, and the entire news crew is here. The documentary you just listened to is from VOP 90.3 FM News Crew. It's now time for us to introduce our guest today in the studio. Obviously, we're looking at Nigeria before independence, Nigeria after independence, and then practically now, what is our independence like, and what are the features that actually describes or illustrates Nigeria at 65? What are we experiencing? The talks on the streets by Nigerians, the political elites. We're going to also take a prism from the views of the president's speech today as well. But we're going to start with life before independence. What Nigeria was like, what our economic hub was like, what our political space was like, what were the traditional cultural values that made Nigeria unique, peculiar, multiculturally diverse. So I'm going to start off with Mr. Elvis Elimehele. Mr. Elvis, welcome. Happy Independence Day to you.
Same to you, Esther. Happy Independence Day to Nigerians.
Thank you very much.
65 years, we are glad.
Okay. Mr. Awa Omumiko, this is the first time I'm seeing you physically. I've been listening to your voice on most of our analysis. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us today.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. And we also have Barrister Sebastian Ozoana. He's a political national social affairs commentator. Barrister, welcome to VOP family. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, listeners.
Good afternoon. All right, Solomon of him. Let's start off.
Okay, let's start off now. Let's start off with the circumstances, events, and situations that led to the independence of Nigeria. Let me start with Barrister Zoana. The events and circumstances that led to the independence in Nigeria, which of the events stood out for you? Before the amalgamation, we know some nationalists came together. They started the national movement. Abed Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, they all started some of these national movements that paved the way for the independence in Nigeria. In all those events that happened, which of the events would you say stood out for you throughout history?
With all due respect, I think one of the things I can point out that stood out was the politics without bitterness.
Can you move a little closer to the mic? Okay.
Yes, I was trying to say that one of the events that stood out was the politics of that time, which I would like to describe as politics without bitterness, as against what we're having today. Today you have propaganda, you have running after political opponents without justification, without proof. But at that time, you see them, they were virtually, if not almost, united in their effort to see that the country became independent. And that, for me, was an outstanding position.
But do you agree with him, sir?
Yes, I do, because they were resilient and unite and have a unity. Just one thing, they were united in purpose, and that purpose, they worked as one and actualized it. So despite their differences and despite the coloration given to that period, their resilience made us to have a...
Now, I've heard one or two persons say they made some different opinion, because at that time, that was after the World War. The UK, for example, one of the world
Which
power,
of the World War, please?
The First World War, rather. UK at that time were weakened financially, because, of course, they played a huge part in the war. And a lot of the countries took advantage of the fact that UK was weak at that time, and then a lot of countries started springing up, started fighting for their independence. I've heard someone say Nigeria wasn't ready for independence at that time. They were just following what other countries were doing at that time. Every other country is trying to gain their independence, trying to take advantage of the fact that the United Kingdom, Britain is weak at this time. Let's take a look at that. Let's follow suit, and of course, the Britain didn't have the financial power at that time to fight multiple battles and multiple countries trying to gain their independence. They're like, okay, let's get our independence, and then independent, here we go, even though they were not ready to be independent at that time. Do you agree with that notion?
For me?
Yes, for you.
Yes, good. By 1914, Britain was weak, had no money, and was on its way leaving Africa, going back to its country. But I discovered that there was the likes of, when I look at him as a scatterhead, because he was a lover boy that failed. And that is George Godey. George Godey stood firmly and was even gathering, even expanded the territory called Nigeria more than what the British government had done. It was Godey that bought most of the land, expanded the northern region, and used his money, because he was the son of a billionaire as of then. I use the word scatterhead because he was a lover boy looking for adventure, and he came to Africa. And coming, he felt there's an advantage and opportunity in Nigeria, and he used his personal funding to make sure that the ethnic groups were well lubricated to actually give him ways. And that was why, when British recovered their stand, this young man had to sell Nigeria for £864,000. He sold the country back to British government. And besides, if not for the fact that Nigeria had existed before 1914, we would have been bearing his name. Nigeria would have been named Godey because of the role he played. And you can see that aspect, the aspect he bought, which he sold back to Britain, because he himself was getting weak. But it wasn't that he used everything, though it wasn't that he was doing it alone, but rather the British government gave him the military might, the military backup, which he was sponsoring and feeding back.
Okay.
But it was not as if we weren't prepared. We were, but we never, little did we know, little did our people then, little did they know about governance and what it takes to live as a larger country. Thank you.
Okay. Let me go to you, Mr. Elvis Elimihele. Okay. So, comparatively, I've also heard some people say South Africa is better off today in terms of economy, in terms of growth, in terms of infrastructure, because of the long stay of the colonial masters in South Africa. Of course, we know some of the sufferings, we know the apartheid and some of the negative effects of the long stay of the colonial masters in South Africa. But on the other hand, the long stay also helped them. Do you think the same way when you see some of the things that have happened in Nigeria, some of the negative aspects post-independent, would you say we would have been better off if the colonial masters had stayed longer in Nigeria?
It would have been better off. Let me tell you, the South Africa you made mention of, let's leave the political development, the economic development they have during the apartheid regime, then compare it to what South Africa is now at the moment.
Well, some may say that the military rule in Nigeria, it can also be compared to the same suffering South Africans went through in the apartheid regime.
The military regime in Nigeria were being ruled by Nigerians as military, under military government, not foreigners ruling Nigerians as it were in South Africa.
Some might say that's worse. It's better to suffer from a foreign land than to suffer from your own person.
No, you see, it became a challenge to Africans because we saw South Africa was done part of our fold as brothers. That's why Africans took it up. Even this nation that is celebrating 65 years of independence today had it on their head, not shoulder. Nigeria was at the forefront that independence must come to South Africa. even Nigerian musicians such as late Sonny Okosun and others started blasting songs on freedom of South Africa. We started hearing of Soweto and Namibia and South Africa and all the countries that are made of South Africa that they must be freed. He came up with one of the Isabon fire in Soweto, burning all my people. Now, people were interested. I'm trying to tell you that the suffering we had under our military regime is quite different from the suffering South Africa had under a foreign government who were not Africans, imposed themselves on them.
The racial segregation.
Yes, so
like that.
till today, if you see South Africans, they've not been able to come out of that. Emancipated themselves. It could be that they've been given the physical independence you and I can see. But is it really on their hands? That's the big question. That's why you see South Africans are feeling intimidated when other black nations come into their country and they are doing well. They feel intimidated.
Inferiority
complex. That's why you are saying the xenophobia. We have had it by ourselves all the time. So we have been able to weather the storm, whether under the military or where we are today.
Mr. Awamiko, so again, we're looking at our historical perspective before independence. And before independence, we had different political entities via the region. Right, we had the Benin Kingdom, we had the Kanam Borno Kingdom, we had the Sokoto Empire, the Oyo Empire, we had their different caliphates. All of these political entities helped to supposedly give each of their region a direction. But something happened when the colonial masters came on board. It was like they deliberately planted a seed. I really cannot describe what they planted in their quest to create an illusion that they were bringing development, they were bringing a life that seemed like it was paradise. But we already had a system that worked for us. Do you think at that time Nigerians were together, despite the fact that we had a different religious and cultural entities? We all had our kingdoms, agreed. We had our regions. People respected it. We had the fights for domination of kingdoms, but at some point, the regionalization of each geographical or geopolitical group kind of helped to give a semblance of orderliness. Do you think the coming of the colonial masters destabilized the process, despite the fact that, according to them, they were coming to give Nigeria an identity and give us a means of succeeding economically?
Yes, it was a way of scattering what was naturally ours. If you look at Benin, the great Benin Empire of old, it had its boundary up to Benue, and was trading even with outside world. And even with Dahomey,
the present day,
and was even trading as far as with the Portuguese. When the Portuguese came to Nigeria, the first place they landed was Brukutu Port. It wasn't Lagos.
It wasn't Lagos?
Yes. They stayed there. The first nursery and primary school, the first school, private school, was established there. And that is why, till tomorrow, the Oba of Benin usually have some intercourse with the Portuguese. When I use the word intercourse, I mean relationship, mutual relationship, where he speak a little bit of the Portuguese language. Is it, if you look at the Kano Bronu, the same thing was applicable. We were having free trade with our brothers in the desert and northern Nigeria. You can see the caravan trade was on, as of then, we are ongoing. And we're bringing in goods and services. There was this harmony that was happening.
Despite the obvious differences.
Yes. Though there were a little bit of intertribal wars here and there.
And domination for land acquisition.
Which they know how to settle it. And if you come to the West, you could see what the Yolo days were doing. The Yolo of Ibadan, of Lagos, and how the Yoruba Empire, Great Oyo Empire, grew, and was developing the entity. So the white men came, just like things Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart said. He said they came and they now put a knife into the string that put us together, and things fall apart.
Interesting.
You see that? So there was this harmony within us. We were trading with ourselves and we're settling each other's problems. Despite the fact that we were fighting, we were still settling our differences. And this made us tick. But they came with the fact that they are bringing something better. And what did they bring better? Is their technology. And they used that technology not only to rob us, but they raped us. I use the word raped. They raped us. And they took all that belongs to us, except our mentality, which today we are just trying to bring back. Mind you, they came, they were with us, they enslaved us, though not to this degree of the South Africans, but they enslaved us for 99 years.
99 years?
Yes.
Almost a century.
They ruled India for 100 years and ruled Nigeria for 99 years.
And when they ruled India, we saw what eventually transpired.
So what they brought to us, though, was I used to, from my own studies, and I used to see it as an advanced colonialism.
Advanced colonialism?
Yeah, what they brought to Africa.
Barrister Sebastian, I'm so sorry, sir. Barrister Sebastian, we're still in the pre-independence era. Chama will be coming on to the economic aspect of things pre-independence. Mr. Barrister Sebastian Ozana, I want to look at how the Southeast was affected with the introduction of this colonial masters. We've heard different narratives of how it was difficult to possibly penetrate because of the individualism of the Southeasterners. You know, there was no particular one head that everybody had to go succumb to get advice, to get any form of moderation in how activities were conducted. That sense of independence was what was always realized. And we heard that there were several wars that were fought between, you know, the Igbos and the colonial masters before they decided to go to other regions, and that created a massive hatred between the Southeasterners and the Igbos. I want you to give us a clarification as to how that shaped the Southeastern political entity and how it affected relationships with other regions in Nigeria.
You see, one thing with the Southeast, which we all know, is that when the British came, they saw that the Southeasterners were a chiefless society. We call that a syphilis society, that's chiefless. Unlike in other parts of Nigeria, where you have like in the West, you have the authorities starting from the Obas and chiefs downwards. You go to the North, you have the MS, the other chiefs. But when they went to the East, they saw that the East believed in equality. And it was a bit difficult for them to rule the East because virtually everybody was on his own. There was no central authority, and that made things a bit difficult for the colonial masters. And I think that too had its own difficulties and advantages. Difficulties in the sense that the colonial masters found it difficult to penetrate the East, to rule the East. That led to their establishing what they call the chieftaincy something.
Warrant chiefs.
Warrant chiefs and things like that, to be able to see whether they can penetrate the Southeast. I think that was what we all know. Even today, it affects the Southeast. That is why sometimes you see other parts of the country speaking with one voice, but you go to the East, you don't find that. You find virtually everybody on his own. So that is just one remarkable aspect of the Southeast, that they appear a bit chiefless, a bit independent, everybody on his own. Unlike in other places where they were having a central authority or somebody they can listen to. I think that is my little contribution on that.
Mr. Owiko.
Yeah, I think the history of the Igbo man has not been properly told.
Okay.
And most history books too have little or nothing about the Igbo man. The challenge the Igbo man is having in Nigeria started during the Ekumeku War, which was fought for 30 years against the British.
30 years?
Yes, against the British. That was the first banditry war Nigeria had experienced. That's the first.
banditry war.
Yes, war.
Nigeria experienced, but it was
Yes.
between the Southeasterners and the
It
colonial
was within
masses.
the Igbo man against the colonialism.
So from
against the
foundation,
colonialists.
the fighting has always been on from the
Yeah,
onset.
the agitation has always been on. The war was fought. If you can take a review of Okonkwo's book, Things Fall Apart, those wars he was mentioning were part of the Ekumeku Wars. Ekumeku War, when the British came, they would have made Asaba the capital of Nigeria. Now, during that crisis, because of what the Ekumeku people within the axis of Asaba and that region knew about what the British were and what they did in Yoruba states, they decided to stop them so that they would not come and enslave them, just like they've done to other tribes. And it became a war of, the Ekumeku simply is a war of secrecy. All the matured people in the community belonged to it. It was like a cult war, just like what we have in America, the KKK and the primary war. So the people now came together. Whenever a white man is seen, he's beheaded, he's killed. But they were so naive about it, to the extent that they even believe that everything about the white man is spirit.
Wow.
That was why they have to tie, Things Fall Apart said they tied this iron horse. And what do you mean by iron horse? That is just the bicycle. So that constant killing was on. It lasted for a period of 30 years.
Because they didn't understand it.
They didn't understand who the head of this, the leaders of these bandits. The white man has to leave Asaba. That was why he left Asaba for Calabar, and where he stayed. When I mean he, I'm using the whole group as an individual. This is where they now stayed, and they stayed in Calabar for long. And that is why some people, some political historians, will miss it to say Calabar is the first capital of Nigeria. No, it's not true. But fortunately, within this period, while they were there, they were bringing the policies and doing other things until the South and the North. In fact, the South was first merged with the Colonial of Lagos. Then later, merged with the Northern region. Merged with the Colonial of Lagos in 1st January 1900. They merged with, the amalgamation came now in 1914. First in 1914. And that has been, so what is the result, or what was the result of the Ekumeku War? It led to the removing of Igbo as a language in Nigeria.
Chai.
It led to the people not being recognized.
So that was the hatred. That was where the hatred stemmed from.
That was where the hatred came from.
Wow.
And it led to anything you translated to Igbo man. The Igbo man doesn't want it. So they now accepted the Igbo man as a number one enemy in Nigeria.
Wow.
So that was where that battle, the hatred started. So what we are seeing now is just a cover up of what that had happened in history. This that I'm telling you, you will not see the most history books.
Wow.
Because most of everything pertaining to the Igbo man was expunged from the book. And that is why you begin to see the spelling of Igbo. At times where they write it, some will write EBO.
That's
some will write IBO. Everything about it. Forgetting that the real people is IGBO, the language is IGBO. And if you look at books printed in those days, when they begin to talk of languages of ethnic group, they write Hausa Yoruba, they write IBO, they stroke it with English. Which means the people are more or less not there.
What we used to call English.
You see that? So that was what, and that affected the psyche, just like what my brother said, the psychology of the people. They were dispersed all over the place. And to date, in fact, to date, except scholars that are beginning to re-engineer what that has happened.
So that thing caused an identity situation.
Yes, because if you look at Ibn Khaldun, what Ibn Khaldun said, which is the father of philosophy and anthropology, he said the generation is 30 years. And the rot of a state or a community lies in its foundation. So once the foundation is destroyed, what will you take of the people? Nothing. So it's going to affect their psyche, their thinking, and the ways of doing things. And if you begin to look at it, you see that the Igbo man, right from that period, has this resilient spirit to survive no matter the situation.
And then they're always defensive.
And that is
always defensive.
Very good. That is why that spirit is still in them. Even those of them that were taken out as slaves, the countries where they are, that spirit of survival.
You have to survive.
That spirit of, they call it Umunabofu. That means we have that one spirit, we must survive, we must take dominion. We must not allow foreigners to dominate us. So that spirit is there. And that is what is still leading them today. Maybe as we go on, we begin to talk more about
Mr. Awamiko, you need to write a book. You need to write a book because now history is back. And so now that history is back, we have different excerpts of our historical background. I need you to please begin to write it down. It's important because the current generation now, because of what is going on in our political space, are now going back to research to understand their historical perspective and their identity. So when they speak, they need to speak from a stance of knowledge. I know myself. It's very, very beautiful. Mr. Elvis Elimehele, do you have any contribution to that before we head on to Chairman?
No. He brought up the historical perspective for the Igbos to where we are living today.
Yes.
Today, you see what the Nigeria government, the present government of Nigeria, that is still happening with the Igbos today, has long been in existence. That's where he came from.
Exactly.
And that this part of Nigerians have actually been struggling to survive. And we have seen them surviving over the years.
Now, still talking about identity, I've heard people say Nigeria is a mismatch of people that shouldn't be together. I've heard one or two persons say the culture, the language structure, the religion of people in the north and the southern part of Nigeria, talking about in this case now the Igbos and the Yorubas put together. I've heard people say that it's a mismatch, and I've heard theories of like people in Benin Republic should have been part of Nigeria. A lot of people in the up north should be part of Niger Republic or Liberia. That they have similar identity, they have similar language structure, religion, and then I've heard people say, in the course of the fight for independence, the nationalists, people that spearheaded the nationalist movement then should have taken that into consideration, to like, you go to your proper country, we let's say in this part of the country. Do you believe in that notion?
You're referring from the historical perspective or cultural mismatch?
Yes, leading into the independence.
They are absolutely right. That's what we are still battling to this moment. It has become a modern language now. You start hearing people talking about restructure. Start hearing people talking about true democracy. Start people hearing talking about true federalism. It is the mismatch that have played down all that time to where we are today. You see, the British actually came up with that amalgamation because of economic reasons. They just want more, not minding whether these people are actually brothers or in whatever form. So
there's a similarity what happened in India.
Yes. So, but we now lost our own. We lost our own totally because Indians still kept part of their own. Their culture, they still have it today, food, dressing and all that. If you still get to India, you still see those ones. But immediately they captured us after that amalgamation, we lost it in total. because we now began to emulate what the dummy they drew up. We now begin to follow it up. We began to look at, okay, these new masters that came, let us begin to dress like them. Let us begin to talk about their religion and all that. If you look at it, even from today, even till 1990, when Gideon Moka's coup came up in this nation, it still went back to what we just made mention of, mismatch. You remember at that April 20, 1990 coup, Gideon Moka, he has already removed some states out of this nation. Because they have just looked at it that there is no way these people cannot, they saw a kind of mismatch that this is why some things are not working. So, but as we are today, bringing it down to the level we are today, that's why we are talking about, can we have a true federal state where everybody can now begin to, live the way they ought to have lived before this amalgamation came in? A state in US is practically like a country of its own. Can we have that? If we are saying we are practicing,
each region is in charge of their resources.
Every region should be in charge of their resources, should be in charge of their religion, should be in charge of their tradition, whatever
and
you feel that suits you, that your people understand better. Why don't you practice it? Even though we still live together in the same entity called Nigeria, yes, but we can begin to drive it back home and say, okay, I am an Edo man, so I know much about the culture of my people than any other person coming in to tell me. You can't tell me.
Okay.
He has just given us much about the history of the Igbo, even before the pre-colonial era this moment we are. Yeah. I can't be an authority like he has just given. So if we have that true federalism as it's supposed to be, everybody will begin to no, this is wrong. This is traditionally wrong. You can't do this. He will understand because he's from that place. But if you tell an outsider man you don't do this here, it's like an alien. He doesn't understand what you're talking about. So there was that mismatch. That mismatch came, and that's what we are still battling today.
Now, let me direct the follow-up question to Barrister Zoa now. I've also heard some people make a counter-argument against that there's nothing like mismatch, and these people have actually used micro-ethnicism as an example. All Igbos are not the same. Just like all Hausas are not the same and all Igbos are not the same. And they've said even if these different ethnicities were divided, say the majority of the northerners have been joined with people of Niger Republic or Libya, and some large parts of the southwestern people have been joined with Benin Republic, those individual micro ethnicity in the whole ethnic will still have their issues. The Anambras will still have been fighting that the Enugus and the Oweris, are dominating them. The Oshuns would have been fighting against the Lagosians, that you guys are dominating us, which means the problem will still be there. In other words, it's not a mismatch. It's just the foundation is the way the amalgamation was done, not the fact that these different people were lumped up together. Do you agree with that notion?
Yeah, the mismatch of today, I think, is mainly born out of do I call it economic reasons rather than cultural? Because the major thing today is sharing of money. The God-given resources given to Nigeria, which is oil, has turned out to be a major reason for problems within the country. So when people talk about today about the mismatch or through federalism or restructuring, they just think about the resources. The resources. Somebody has talked about America now. If you go to the US, the state of California, we are told, is even richer than the American federal government. It's just the money, the resources, so that people can develop on their own. Whatever you have, you develop on it. For instance, I know those years before we started having all this, the military coups and so on, the East as a whole, which was known as the Eastern region, was the home of palm produce. And they made a lot of money from that. The West was known for cocoa, and the North was known for groundnuts. So if we go back to that state today, every region will begin to develop on its own. As against the situation where we all sit down in Abuja waiting for oil money to come and to be shared. So which is not part of federalism actually.
Don't worry,
Yes.
Chama will delve into that when it's time. So, Mr. Omiko, let's look at the Northern Empire before independence in 1960. We've had several historical reports from a couple of historians that the Northern Bloc was hesitant to embrace that sense of independence. That they also took a series of consultation, all right, for them before they were able to adopt and accept that, okay, we need to be independent. Then we also know that the Northern Bloc was favorable with our colonial masters. It was easy for them to work with the Northerners, and obviously we saw how the array of lands were given to them, and they gave them this insight of they politically, all right, were the powerhouse. They were the determinant of the leadership process, the leadership process, all right, in deciphering or determining what the political space in Nigeria was like. Remember as well that we also had the Southwest, which was another political power block. Specifically, the political enterprise was here in Lagos. But we had to contend with the North at the time. The Southwest had to contend with the North. How do you think this aspect shaped Nigeria's political space before independence?
Well, let me just pick it from the fact that, anyway, from the last question.
Okay.
Nigeria, as a country, is born out of greed.
Born out of greed?
Greed, yes.
Okay.
I still take a step backwards to George Gordie. When George Gordie was doing all the buying and selling, all the buying of the lands, the territories, commandeering them, he wasn't commandeering them because he wanted to help the people. He was commandeering them to have size. So believe that once they have the size, they have more resources, they have more places to exploit the people, and they could do that. And now coming back to 1914 or so, you will see that Lord Lugard wasn't ruling the country from Lagos.
Okay.
He was ruling from Lokoja, from the northern region. Why? Because he said Lagos politicians are like pepper and rats.
Pepper and rats.
Yes.
Okay. Explain.
He said like pepper that they trouble him too much that he can't sleep. He said they are too pepperish for his liking. He can't sleep. They are like rats, in the sense that anywhere you go within the house, you find them. So that was why he migrated, not officially, to Lokoja, where he stayed. And because that place was calm, no politician to criticize him, he was doing everything he was doing. From there, they will write the policies and bring them to Lagos to be implemented.
So, meaning that the Southwest politically was more exposed.
More exposed and more active, more volatile. The nationalist movement was much more pronounced in Lagos. And you can see the Clifford Constitution took its effect even first in Lagos before any other part. And so he was much more saying, no, these people, how can we let us leave them? In fact, the independence was just to be a dash to make us keep quiet. People were saying, no, let us give us independence. Let these people go, let them go. I think either Kunis, either one of the governors, Kunis, I can't really remember his other names now, went to the north and said, no, if you allow this, these people will dominate you in future. And that was why he said, okay, if that is the case, let us have a plan. So they have to re-strategize and said, independence is not yet now. Let us have it when able. and when having it when able is infinite. And these people are saying, why the southern politicians are saying, let us have it now. But fortunately, 1960 came when they were sharing, British was sharing their lagis in the name of independence and started giving all those countries who ruled independence. If you look at West Africa and most places where the British government had their stand, it was 1960.
That they gave that.
So it was not that, they were just giving us what I could describe as flag independence.
Flag independence.
Yes. Because we still have the grip of the British. And what the worst of it all is this imperialism which we are feeling.
Right.
Everything we are doing is British. The Constitution, thank God Barrister is here. We tell you that there are some of the things in the constitutions that we can't even change. We've been trying. They will tell you colonial this, colonial that. They did it, colonial this, colonial that. And that was what happened during Nigerian Cameroon crisis. They had to start quoting the colonial masters. Until, thank God for the likes of late Richard Akinjide that came in and was able to intercede and interpret all the laws. There were nobody on ground. Until it was his likes that came in and perfect solution. So what we are saying is that the North, right from the beginning, never wanted
to be part of Nigeria.
To be part of us. It was that mismatch. We found it was a power brought us together. They never wanted it. And they are strange bedfellows.
Strange bedfellows.
In terms of religion and every other thing. But with the coming of colonialism and independence and federalism, there's the word strange bedfellows is gone. Because with federalism, you bring in people of diverse culture, ethnic group, and every other thing. How many are we? 450 ethnic groups, or little above 450 ethnic groups. How about in India? India has close to 1,000, and that was why the likes of Nepal and Pakistan were taking off, and yet Bangladesh taking off, and yet they are still a very big country. How about United States of America? That is a no man's land. U.S. Which ethnicity, which ethnic people would you say owns United States? But it is an all people from diverse places. A conglomerate
of different.
Yes, and if you look at the ethnic group there are more than what we have here in Nigeria. So what we need now is to practice true federalism. Let's forget that River Niger has taken some people off. River Benue has taken... No. Let's practice true federalism. And true federalism is the only way out. Though federalism is expensive to practice, but practicing it to its core will only be the thing that will solve the situation.
And it will even bring down the cost.
And it will bring down...
because we are jam-packed together and we are being spoon-fed from Abuja. That's why it's becoming very difficult. If we come to that regionalism and that's what we are practicing, the southern part of Nigeria or western part where we are today, they will not, pile themselves up with this kind of costs we have on Nigeria now because they want development for their people. For their people. We were Midwest, Edo Delta, Bended, that later became Bend. We will not pile ourselves up because we need development. And our people, remember during the regional government, why are certain, Westerners today, in terms of civilization and education, they have it. It was just because Awolowo was able to start taking them out for foreign scholarships.
Yes, sir. Sir, I've not learned this, sir. You took my time.
Yes.
Okay. You can see, all what we are, just as a barrister pointed out, is we are struggling for resources. Yes. People want to share this money. And where is the money? People want to share. When they want to share, it must be this, it must be that. Why must you take MPA to Borno State or even to Abuja? Where are the oceans? What are they going to do there? Do fish swim on the sand?
Obviously not.
No. So let the regions feel to be part of the government. Make them part of the government. If you put an MP, the headquarters of MPA in either Bayelsa River State or even in Calabar, the people will feel belonged.
Interesting.
Take agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture to Borno, Sokoto, and let them stay there. It does not mean they will not have southerners. They will feel belong. That resources, and look at how much we are spending. How much we are spending. By the time you practice true federalism, you will wither down the cost of governance to a minimal level. You will make the people, you will include, the people will be inclusive in governance. There will be peace. There will be people being able to secure and control their resources.
Thank you, Mr. Awa Omiko. We've been talking about pre-independence. Let's now talk post-independence, leading up to the Civil War and then till 1999 that Nigeria started enjoying this 26 years of unbroken democracy. Nigeria actually inherited a federal structure from Britain, but we were deeply divided along ethnic and regional lines. We had the Hausa Fulani, the Yorubas, the Igbos, and everyone just saying, oh, these are my people. We had Azikiwe with his NCNC party, Awolowo with the Action Group, and of course Tafawa Balewa with the Northern People's Congress. With everyone, as much as we were together as Nigerians, everyone wanted to cater to the needs of their region. The Civil War came in 1967 and it worsened distrust between the ethnic groups, with so many people saying they belong first to their ethnic nationality and not really embodying that Nigerian identity. After the war, the government adopted the 3 R's policy: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and reconciliation. But can we actually say that between independence and 1999 up until now, has Nigeria really been reconstructed? Have we been rehabilitated from the mindset that we had just before the war, during the war, and after the war? We'll also take a look at the Nigerian economy, which we know agriculture used to be the backbone of the economy. Then we had the oil boom. Nigeria became so dependent on oil that at some point it seemed that we had so much money, the problem was just how to spend it. But an economic crisis in the 1980s led to a crash in oil prices. It led to recession, debt crisis, unemployment, and poverty in Nigeria. The military government under Buhari and Babangida then had to introduce austerity measures and the structural adjustment program pushed by the IMF and the World Bank. Till today, the fuel subsidy removal and the devaluation of the naira have been said to be policies of the IMF and the World Bank, which has plunged the Nigerians into Nigerians finding it difficult to actually buy a lot of things with the naira up till now. So can we truly say we are independent if we are still depending on policies from financial institutions that many Nigerians believe do not have our best interests at heart? That's for the economy. When it comes to foreign dependence, can we say we are truly independent? After 1960 towards 1999 up until now, Nigeria depended a lot on foreign powers, mainly for import of goods, for loans and aid. We're still taking loans up until now. Will we not be subject to the whims and caprices of people who are giving us these loans? Can we say that we are truly independent? Still talking on ethnic relations, that we've talked a lot about that up until today. But the British left us as Nigerians, but we still see ourselves as Yoruba, Igbo, Edo, Delta, and we still see ourselves as that ethnic nationality. Can we say we are truly independent if we've not let go of that mindset of me first, my people first, and not Nigeria first? But I would like to direct my first question to Barrister. Let us actually understand the legal aspect of this disunity that we are seeing in Nigeria, because as much as we continue to preach one Nigeria, we are not actually seeing it now. Post-independence, what were the mistakes of our political heavyweights, political godfathers then, that put Nigeria on this trajectory that we're seeing right now, that makes it seem like we are not truly independent? Or are we independent?
Thank you very much. You see, one thing with getting a group of people together to be one country is a difficult thing. And in Nigeria and this part of the world, we say we are a federation. That means a number of states coming together, known as federating units, coming together to form a government at the center. But from my own perspective, I do not think the type of federation we have been running since independence has been the proper and effective federation. One can even call it a unitary system of government, because in a true federation, the states have a high degree of independence. At the center only takes care of a number of issues like defense and foreign affairs. But what do we have in Nigeria? We just at the center we gather everything and give some small elements of authority to the states, which is not so. If we operate a proper federal system of government, majority of power should belong to the states. Then at the center, you have these major issues of defense, foreign affairs, and maybe currency, which is a very serious aspect of sovereignty of any nation. You must have a currency of your own. So for us to operate well as a people operating a federal system of government, we must do the proper thing by giving. That's why some people are calling for restructuring and whatever language you
constitutional change.
Constitutional change and reforms. So we are not operating a real federal system of government actually.
Mr. Elvis Alimihele, let me put in context all the English that Chairman ruled out. Because we actually had a meeting, so each person was supposed to break it down. In Chairman's aspect, she's meant to look into post-independence, the economic sector of Nigeria. That's basically it. Now, we talked pre-independence, what we focused on, and we mentioned the element of our trade. Post-independence, that is after 1960, there was an identification situation. Before the independence, we were traded. We actually had our political entities. This was how we were able to trade. But after 1960, there was an identity situation where each region had to identify their stronghold, go on trading full on. Remember, we operate in a regional system of government, so you now had to have the premier of each region. In the southeast, in the southwest, and in the northern bloc, you each had their leaders. So obviously we had economic integration. We were derailed after the Civil War. Specifically the southeast, even if Nigeria was thriving, but Nigeria felt the impact of the Civil War because most of the foreign investments that were being installed here had to stop. So they diverted to providing arms and weaponry to fight the southeast. So let's look at the economic perspective of Nigeria after independence. There were certain products that we relied on that sustained the economy before we discovered oil, in terms of understanding how well the oil was. Where did we get it wrong by continuing that trade in certain regions that was kind of familiar to them? Where did we get it wrong?
Well, we got it wrong when the oil came.
Please, first of all, tell us what were the trading activities that boosted the economy then?
I'll get here. I want to believe that we still remember that when we had our region, we were having 3 regions.
Yes.
Not these geopolitical zones now. This was Abacha concession in 1994. So at that time, every region had what was put out, like God-given gift, that you don't need to labor so much and it thrives where in your region. The northerners we had granite and ice and skin. Then the east had palm oil. The west has cocoa, and the Bendel state then, and that's the Midwest that came in 1975 or 1963 after through referendum, came up with rubber and timber. So Nigeria was moving under regional government, which we can liken to federal system of government that actually came out when the first coup came. Aguiyi Ironsi came. Aguiyi Ironsi actually brought Nigeria into this unitary system we are today.
Okay.
So at that time, there was this heady competition among the regions.
Okay.
If I have my groundnut and I'm doing well, and the Westerners have their cocoa and they are doing well, then I have to see what they are doing with their cocoa to see whether I'll be able to also match up my people with it. That was how we started. We had only one university that the colonial master left with us, University College. They even call it University College Ibadan.
Okay, Mr. Elvis, hold on. We had granite in the north.
Yes.
They had fertile soil.
Yeah.
They had Irish potato. They had yam. Now, for granite, you know that there are different things you could derive from it.
Yes.
If they needed to transmit to other regions in terms of selling, they could make oil out of granite, right?
Yes.
It was a whole meal on its own. There's what they call granite soup. So these were the benefits other regions were getting from the north
and
while they were trading.
We were trading all this, you know, and things were going on where there was not this I want to pack it just because I want to earn it for my family and myself. It was not there. Everybody was like, this heady competition have to stay. Remember, there was a time to say, how many graduates do they have in the northern part of Nigeria? But over here in the south and in the west, there were already people who were going to school. So they have to also emulate it. That's okay. If Chief Awolowo can set up University of Ife, then the present day Obafemi Awolowo University, then we also have to have a school where we can train our people too. ABU have to come up. UNN came up. People were doing well. Okpara, the premier of Eastern region, did fantastically well.
Michael
Okpara is set up the Enugu industrial hub, where you have today we have so many industry came up there. You even set up the presidential hotels you have in Port Harcourt and in Enugu. You know.
This was post-independence.
This was post-independent because then the people have to survive. Then in our own side too, then Midwestern region, we also, you know, following up because, you know, we came out from the Western region, you know, we're also following up to make sure that we have our footing. Then fast forward to when things started getting decay, even before it started getting decay, people like education became a paramount thing. Because
things are getting decayed before the Civil War, after the Civil War.
After the first coup. The coup led to the Civil War. Yes. It was the coup that led to the Civil War. That was where things started going the other way around. After the death of the emirs, the premier, and all that massacre of 1966. Yeah. The military came into power. And you know, in order to make it, I don't know, probably in order to make it like, oh, we want to have a grip of what it is, you know, by force or whatever, they came up with this unitary constitution. This unitary constitution abrogated and killed all that everybody was enjoying in their region. Today, the first skyscraper in this nation, Cocoa House, was built with cocoa money in Ibadan. Cocoa money. It was not oil money. So when you start hearing of people had bursary in school, people had scholarships, you know, people you finish your education, you have a home, you have a car or whatever, you have a ready job awaiting you, you'll be wondering, where was this job coming from? It was coming from those things that were found within your region that sponsored you got sponsored through it, and you are not out of it. You have to have a payback to that region that gave you that support. But it's not so in any way today. So that attracted development. That also attracted people, foreign countries to say, okay, let us also come in and invest here. You see, Michelin came from the rubber that was being produced in Midwestern region. They now have to start making tires. So we don't need to go and import tire before we can put in our cars. The Volkswagen came. They were here doing well. Peugeot stayed in Port Harcourt, in Kaduna, and they were doing well.
They were assembling
assembling Peugeot cars. So that gave employment. Everybody was happy. The regions could actually take care of their economic space and even take care of their people the way it's supposed to be. I had a pastor when I was during my youth service. He said he got scholarship and was sponsored. This man is from Akwa Ibom. I served in Akwa Ibom. He said he was sponsored by a northern government. You can imagine what we're talking about. He saw the scholarship advertised in the newspaper. He applied. The northern government, then northern region, sponsored him through higher institution, because everybody was he was just lucky to tell you that this thing was available, that we are now finding it difficult to get today. Nigerians were sending their students abroad to also know more about this British government after this colonialization, that we also have to be like these people. We have to have this idea. That's why you see things were going on well. But when the military came, that led to even the independent. After the independence, we just got independent. Now, after the coup came, the military came up with their own agenda. The agenda now brought us to where we are today.
Mr. Elvis has given us a preliminary basis. So after the Civil War, obviously, remember that Nigeria just gained its independence. So they were trying to understand how to go about it. They were, again, the whole thing of identity. How do we move on from here? What do we do? You made a mention about strange bedfellows, but now that we're now independent, we're all together. The British have said, you guys have to work together. So Nigeria was trying to work together from a usual system of regional independence, regional development, but we all have to work together, which obviously was what brought up with the Constitution, learning to work with the Constitution. The Civil War happened. A lot of things were derailed. I don't know whether to say deliberately derailed, but it also had some form, a major part of influence from our international counterparts, specifically the British. Okay, even Russia too had their own role. Those that were supplying weapons, those that were, when oil was now discovered, they decided to use the opportunity to plunge our economy into whatever disarray we found ourselves. And then there was this lack of knowledge from our leaders on how to handle their newfound wealth. So Choma talked about the introduction of the IMF, the World Bank, how they started determining our economic process, our naira, our money, our denomination, how the strength of our denomination, how it has to transmit with we having any trade with them. Where did Nigeria get it wrong in that regard that affected our economic fabric?
Thank you. In the first place, the war was caused by the British government. Because the leaders were already settling. They had already arrived to an agreement until the British government said, no, you shouldn't accept that. But howbeit, the war was fought.
Okay.
And federal government declared no victor, no vanquished. And after that, we lost our sense of nationhood. We now change from patriotism to nationalism. And when you say nationalism, you are talking of either take it anywhere. You are talking of tribalism. Because we are just talking about promoting your small nation. Yoruba is a nation, Igbo is a nation, Hausa is a nation, Efik is Tiv is a nation, Efik is a nation. So that idea of nationalism, of let me think of my region first. These people must not come to do this to me. I must come up. Our economy flourished to the extent that it was quoted. In fact, I'm yet to read the exact quotation. It was quoted that Gowon said, the problem I have is how to spend the money. Then we refused to invest. We had that money to the extent that I can remember then in the Yorubas, if they want to say pom, they want to say naira, they will say pom meji, which means it got to a level where our money was even higher than pounds. Gradually the thing dropped. When the money began to drop, it got to a level, it became 2 pounds, 2 naira to a pound. But now, how much is it? Almost 2,000. Over 2,000 over. We refuse to invest. We refuse to use our oil money. Instead, when we had that money, Udoji shared it, which was a mistake. One of the economic mistakes we made. Udoji money was a mistake. It should have been reinvested into the economy. Which country is like now? They say they're sharing 25,000 naira, and palliatives, and you say you want to curb inflation. You're only deceiving yourself. Which country will share money and there won't be inflation? But when you plug that money into that economy, you take people back to the farm, produce food, prices will naturally come down. Where are the Peugeot? My brother mentioned the motor companies.
Yes, that were assembling.
They were
here.
assembling. In fact, there were over 5. There were this FMI.
Yes.
There were Star. There were
That star
Star,
car.
yes.
there were Star
Oh.
Car. There were so many. I think about 5 of them. Kaduna, Kano, Lagos. Where are the textile
And Nissan.
industries?
Was Nizam part of it?
No, Nissan just came.
Nissan just came.
Okay.
The factory, the textiles factory. Where are they? In the north, there used to be granite and cotton. Did they still plant cotton? No way. Even if they plant the cotton, they plant for export, not for internal use. So we refuse to invest. We were rather mixing economic issues with
Politics.
issues. And when you mix both, it's just like mixing sugar and salt.
Is that what led to the closure of Eleganza?
Where are the raw materials? Eleganza just came off late. Where are the raw materials? Where are the textiles companies? Before, the whole of Lagos, I traveled to Liberia to one of those days. Then I went to a very big shop in Liberia.
Yeah.
I said, we want to buy textiles. These clothes Igbo women wear.
Yes.
They tied. We said we want to buy. They said how many thousand. The man said how many lorry loads do you want? When he looked at us, he said, you guys are from Nigeria. I said yes. He said he's not selling to us.
Ah.
I said why? He said, do I know that these things come from Nigeria?
Yeah.
He started mentioning companies in Nigeria. He said they don't sell to Nigerians. He said what they do is that once those companies, textile companies produce, they bring to them, they will perfume it and put label and ship back to us.
Wow.
And we buy it as Hollandia and
Hollandese
from London, America. Said no, they are Nigerian products.
So I'm sorry. Please repeat it again. Repeat. What?
Yes, they produce Aswani and as MP
And
in Oshodi. Aswani
Church
and
Church
the
Gate.
other ones, Church Gate.
Church Gate.
They design those things.
Half print.
Half prints and where are they today?
The whole of Oshodi and Papa Express.
Where are they today?
Toyota
Where are
bus
they
stop.
today? They are gone because we refuse to do the needful. And if you look at this factory I'm telling you in Liberia, massive, and it's not the only one. And do you know what it means to import water? When you import ordinary water, maybe a bottle of water, fully, in fact, when you import a product, you have directly and indirectly employed close to 5,000 foreigners. You start from the cork, from the rubber materials, from the print, from the plastic, from the processing of the water. In fact, all the whole aspect. By the time you put it together, plus and minus, you will see the chains of labor involved. But we fail to do that. Instead, we are much more pursuing sharing, naira and kobo. We failed to invest. Where is our agricultural sector gone? Our educational sector, what happened? Moribund. The health sector, where? And these it's like economic sectors are vicious. One sector helps the other sector.
Yes.
And once a sector is down, it will affect the other sector. All those things are gone. We began to import foreign things. When in 1945, India started producing color TV, they never used it in their community. They were using black and white. Rather, they were producing for foreigners. Have we, when we begin to talk of industrialization, the industrialization policy of 1976 was lopsided. And because it was lopsided, it failed. And that was when the politicians began to buy the good sectors, those flourishing sectors, They just think that acquiring them will be just money. They don't know that when you acquire those sectors, people have to work to make them viable. That thing failed. That policy failed. And we now began to import virtually everything we use, including button. During Obasanjo's first tenure, Nigerians imported sand we used to build the bridges. They were imported. We were even importing water because the Igbo people in Nigeria said our water is corrosive and hard that for their skin. So, but now, those things are no longer there. Yeah. We now treat our water, do all those things. But why do we refuse to build those factories? We had flourishing youths, which we allowed them just to waste until we can still go back to that. If this money we are sharing, which sums of money we are sharing, we plunge them back. But before we do that, we must learn to do what the Chinese people are doing. And the Chinese, the Japanese, and even the Indians are doing. And what did they do? If you touch the economy, they accuse you of sabotage and they'll kill you. Straight. There's something like plead bargaining. They'll kill you because you are touching the nerve center of the economy. Do you know what it means? Somebody stole 500 million. And for instance, now they said it is only in Nigeria that
snake they swallow money. Hey!
And monkey carted money and went away.
Spiritual things.
What is spiritual? even those spiritual things get spiritual killing.
Because I don't know that.
When you imagine the number of factories that would have funded, imagine the number of roads that would have taken care of. Imagine electricity. Very good. These days, most people don't even work in the offices. Companies are closing down.
Yes.
Because there is no power.
There's no power to sustain.
It. Why can't we use that to develop our economy?
Or the excess 2.4 trillion that is missing. Nobody's questioning. Nobody's investigating. People are stealing.
But I'm not here to promote one political party against the other. If you look at what OT is doing
in Abia State,
if it could be sustained, and if they could emulate him, what OT and the Enugu State governor is doing, if they could emulate those two, I think Nigeria will be back to its feet.
I think just the summary of what you have just said is this: bad leadership. That's just the cause of all this. Bad leadership.
And docile followers.
Bad leadership.
And docile followers.
And it started from Gowon. If Gowon had properly utilized the oil money, we wouldn't have been in this mess.
So now we're being nostalgic because
honestly, you're talking about
my learned gentleman, sir.
You are the one learned.
Okay.
You all are learned here.
I don't totally blame Gowon.
Really?
I blame all the leaders.
Why not? Why not? Because there was an oil boom in 1970 and a recession in 1980. Just within 10 years.
If you look at what I will singularly did
into the right aspect.
When you made mention of Jerome
Udoji,
it was an economy policy that came at the wrong time.
Good.
You see, the workers' salary is normal to increase workers' salary.
Yeah.
Good. But when you are now, talking of increasing in excess, and somebody, who never dreamt of such, now saw something in his hand, doing the same job, it's not as if he was better off in the job.
Exactly.
It's not as if he has acquired another knowledge about that job that made him to start earning what he now started earning. Arrogance came in. People now began to fly arrogance.
10 naira to 100
People now
naira.
began to look at farming like a dirty job.
Yes.
That was the biggest
mistake.
Biggest mistake came in. People now see, when you are coming from the farm, you now start hiding yourself because there are people who are now earning, who see farmer, why are you still in the farm? So that was where the mismatch came in. So at that time, India, we are talking about how to industrialize themselves. They have 1.something billion population. We are just talking of only 200 and something million.
230.
Yet we cannot feed ourselves. At that time, even under apartheid, South Africa was building armament and building their power sector, knowing fully well that every day, as we talk here, as we are talking in this studio, women are producing in various labor wards. Those children are still coming to switch on the electricity in another 5 years' time.
Yes.
But nobody was talking about population projection for this nation. That what we currently enjoy as at 1975, 1976, at the time, population will erode it. It become an issue.
Yes.
That's where we are today.
Exactly.
Today, I was seeing news scroll yesterday, 2.3 megawatt, because they said gas turbine have been shut down because of this strike. For a whole country of 200 and something million, 2 point something megawatt.
Must we depend on gas?
Must we depend on it?
When we have solar.
All this while, where money were being shared, we have talk of, okay, let us begin to look into solar. Let us begin to even look into hydro. Let us begin to look into other means of generating power, knowing fully well that the spaces in Lagos that were bush then, that were not developed, today they are big towns. As at that time, nobody could talk of Lekki. As at that time, nobody was talking about Ibeju, Lekki and all that. Today, even where I live in Lagos, nobody was living in that kind of place then. So today, you see the population, not just Lagos alone, all over Nigeria. But there was no plan. You are a father, you have 5 wives, 10 wives, you are producing every day. You don't think of these children will grow tomorrow and even talk of feeding before you start talking of empowering them to be like their mates. That's failure. The family will be backward. That's where we find ourselves.
We've established that Nigeria's economy post-independence was actually heavily dependent on agriculture, but when the oil boom came, it was derailed under the military. Can we say that Nigeria's economy went to the dogs totally under the military? And why is it that successive civilian administrations, and since 1999 that we've had this democracy, we've not been able to go back to where we're coming from to actually right our wrongs, and we've been heavily dependent on this money sharing formula that we have seen has not been working for us?
Where the economy came down under the military, because the military are not managers of economy,
and they were inexperienced.
But you see, they also have some good economy plan. Like when the late Murtala Mohammed came in, he saw some mistakes. You know, that coup was, he has to go on and stay 9 years. Nigeria was no longer moving. When he came in, there were some, bringing in some kind of new ideas into the economy. He had some good economists, like Philip Asiodu. These were renowned economists. Even the former Oba, the late Oba of Solomon, Erediawa, these were part of his government. These were people who were well enlightened. They wanted to help him to show up the government. But unfortunately, he didn't stay long. He left. He died. He was killed. Then come Obasanjo's regime. It was like a transitional government. Let me just quickly, hand over. But Seyi Shagari came in 1979. Things were beginning to look up again, better. He had some economic plans. He came up with so many economic. Today you hear, did you still hear of Delta Steel Company, Alaja? Well, came in under his regime. DSC. Oshogbo Steel Rolling Mill came in. Ajakuta came in. These were some economic stay that would have helped to, boost the economy of Nigeria and bring us back to production. Instead of importing. We start importing, because we've been importing geisha, importing beef, importing all manner of things. So now let Nigeria be producing so that we can now begin to have our teeming youth employed. Then things were coming in gradually. It was a good one. Unfortunately, the indiscipline that we have in this nation, that part of it came from the military era, that let me have it, started coming in. Because a politician will always be talking of, I want to remain there in the next election. Some of his aides and some of his ministers also came up with the same corruption that led us to where we are. But there were plans on ground. Instead of us having, like he said, Mr. Amiko said, talk about when you strike the economy of these nations, China and India and others, they know how to handle you. Why don't we have such? Today we are talking about economy with EFCC. Are we really seeing the effect of EFCC? Is the economy not still being baptized under the nose of EFCC?
Do you know that I heard, I think there was a time we had a conversation on this, one of the programs we had here, and I heard that our former leaders, like the Awolowas then, when the military government came into power at the time, if you were heard to have stolen money, they usually use affiliates to launder their money then. Because if they hear you stole money, I think it was execution. My question is this: why did we introduce this aspect of our economy where public officials plunder money, nobody investigates, prosecutes, asks them to remit the money, or whatever drastic punitive measures that need to be implemented to make sure that nobody repeats that system? Why don't we have that? I remember during the presidential chat last year, they asked the president a question: are you going to investigate the Nigerian military? Because lots of money has gone into that sector and there's no delivery. We're not seeing any delivery. Boko Haram is still thriving. The terrorists are still thriving. It's a hub, it's a business, and they're still collecting money from the federal government every day for defense. And the question was asked, would you investigate these individuals? Would you investigate the military? The president said no. It was like, there's a fear of, I don't want to do that. Let's curb what causes corruption. It is lack of education that causes corruption. So I am going to invest more in education, so no child thinks of indulging in anything corrupt. That's what the president says. So you fight the root cause, but let's not deal with what the consequences is right now. There should be no consequences for anything criminal. When did we become a situation whereby one of the factors that debilitated our economy was public officials loot, nobody holds them, no form of accountability for that? That's one. Two, when did we start relying on IMF and the World Bank to make economic decisions for us or projections for us?
So let me take that.
Okay.
Just to add to that of Shagari, he introduced Operation Feed the Nation and green. That took us back to the farm, where every family you have to produce your own food. Now, going back to the question you've just asked, well, I would say that it was, if you look at Murtala Mohammed, what he did, he was, once he gets you, he relieves you of the job. In fact, he doesn't waste no time for investigation. And that was when he introduced with military alacrity.
With immediate effect.
He said with immediate effect and military alacrity. As we are coming in, we are marched out. Just like what banks are doing now. If banks found you of committing any crime, they will just lock up your computer system.
You can't
they will just kick. You can't be able to log in. We failed it because we began to practice the king's politics. King's politics simply means it is somebody from my village. Let's leave him. It is somebody, is a Yoruba man. Don't talk about him. Hausa man did it. You people didn't investigate him. Now Igbo man is doing it. Let's not talk about it. And it was at that period, that was why I said we introduced nationalism at the expense of patriotism. Until we are being patriotic on our own. And once they get you that, wow, no matter your religion, in Nigeria there are always two things. Either they use religion or ethnicity. If your offense, he's doing it because he's an Igbo man or Yoruba man, the other one, no, he's doing it because he's a Christian or a Muslim. Let's take that off. Let us face the reality. The economy should be the epic center of all activities. If you are not properly taken care of, if you are not economic viable, vibrant, capable in the community of nations, you'll be messed around. Just like what we were discussing. I said America is doing all what he is doing, what he's doing because that is technology and money. If we can begin to say, if you do this, you'll be punished. And let it be seen and known that the person is punished. It is when this federal character came up, freedom of speech. You must do this, you must do that. Let's go to court. In those days, the courts existed. But those military head of state did not ask you, let's take you to court. at least my law lecturer said, you don't always go to court to win. You could go to court to delay decision, or even to destroy, to delay and destroy a policy. You see the other, your opponent may be thinking, yes, I'm winning, but you'll be delaying the thing until, if the money the man has at hand to do the project may end up may be wasted. At least my barrister is here to actually confirm what I've just said.
All right, barrister.
I would like to suggest, I would like to prefer a solution.
Okay.
Which I believe, if properly implemented, will rescue us from this situation. And what I want to say is, if we have good lawmakers to give us good laws that will tackle some of these deficiencies from the ground. For instance, in China, there are strict and stringent laws on corruption. If you are caught, you'll be tried. If you are tried and found guilty, you will be hanged. Or the least, you go to prison.
For life.
For life. But in Nigeria, what do we have?
Leave again.
Most of our lawmakers are corrupt themselves and would not like to give us laws that will tackle corruption. So we'll continue to move around the circle.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, until we get to the level of China and Japan.
Sorry.
Okay.
At Okuta panel, you can see that there was a question came up, and man said, if we go as far back as 1960, said the whole Nigeria will scatter. So let us start it from where we have seen it. So that is why some leaders will indirectly run away from probing others, because directly or indirectly the probe may actually get to them.
Even if you don't probe past leaders, and you start from that moment to have good laws, to have good laws, then we'll be in order.
Mr. Elvis Ali Mehele.
To ask me something.
Oh yes, don't worry. So I'll come back to that.
Okay.
Mr. Elvis, in the president's speech, we're now in Nigeria's present economic space, economic activities. The president told us that we're getting our reforms are working, things are getting better. We're out of the dark tunnel, and yes, there are still some ways that we can work through things, but it's better than the way it was, before. He also made mention of the fact that in the past 10 years of the APC, his administration has been able to turn the corner. He said he inherited a literal lack of depth from the previous administration. Remember, the president told us he will continue from where the previous president stopped. But in the same breath, he admitted that he inherited an empty bursary. There was nothing. The economy was next to nothing. So what he has brought him and introduced has supposedly resuscitated some aspect of the economy, that we're no longer importing. That's what the president said. We're now producing. The president talked about the fact that insecurity and our Nigerian security sector is working hard to curb insecurity. He says they're doing well in curbing the situation with IPOB and ESN, literally saying that IPOB is a terrorist organization. Also said that they're fighting banditry in the north. And it's quite, the contrast is what is alarming. What we're seeing right now in Kwara, what we experienced recently in Benue, even he too saw the trajectory, what he went through when he was traveling to Benue, what we're seeing in the north. Different things are happening at the same time. But the president is telling us that our security is good. He's telling us they're working well. He's telling us the economy is better than before. He mentioned all the aspects that the administration has done well economically. But what we're hearing on the streets is not what it is. So my question to you, Mr. Elvis, is that something that they're saying that we're not seeing, whereby we're continuing to hear of these complaints? That's one. Two, all the monies that have been collected from the World Bank as loan for ending poverty, for women, children, widows, for education, they are coming in tranches. We're not seeing anything as to what the money has been used for. So in that regard, are we economically independent? That's one. Two, are we politically independent or fragmented? That's it. Three, true federalism that has been sought for, Federal Republic of Nigeria, are we operating a federal system of government? Because there are complaints of imbalance across geopolitical zones. What's your reaction to that?
We are not operating a federal system of government. If we're operating a federal system of government, Abuja will not be spoon-feeding the 36 states. 36 states ought to have even paying royalty to Abuja. That's square. Every end of the month, all the accountant general of all the states gathered in Abuja, cap in hand, they put in their hand and they go back to their state and start spending. That's one. Number two, the economy the president made mention of. The president is in Aso Rock. He doesn't know what is flying on the streets. Then the president, I think he was trying to come out a little bit with the truth when he was talking to the governor and was talking about let this thing get to the people. You know, he say, he used one adage.
But he just paraphrased it.
Pour more water or something.
Wet the ground.
Wet the ground more when he was talking to the governor. I expected the president to continue in that trajectory. This this September, they shared 2.something trillion, one of the biggest FAC allocation that have ever been shared in this nation. Yes, the governors are getting so much at this moment. Are the governors actually doing? Are they actually doing the same reform? I mean, renewed hope agenda of the president in their respective states? The president ought to ask them, because today they even have majority of the state governors in Nigeria. Then that plays down to the role of whether there is we are independent in the economic or political. Until Nigerians begin to say this is what we want, that's when we can be talking of that we are emancipated and we have independence. Today, you elect a representative from your constituency and he goes to Abuja. Throughout the 4 years, the only time he comes is when he's coming to share palliative. What can palliative do to an economy? Or he's coming to give what they call empowerment, coming to give you Okada, which even in some states, you cannot even use them to make money any longer. So, until we are able to say, no, this is what we want for ourselves to take us to the next level. Not you coming to impose what you feel you can afford. That's not how it's supposed to be. You are representing us. That's what they call democracy. It's the government of the people, by the people and for the people. Once the people who put you there is taken out of it, it becomes anarchy. It's no longer democracy. So a situation where the president now just come and give us his broadcast, what he's doing, and we are not feeling it, it's not democracy. We are taken out of his government. He doesn't even know what is going on. Because if they are quoting figures, Nigeria Bureau of Economists, Statistics is quoting figures. Does it translate to you and I? We're talking macroeconomic figures. The micro that has more, coming from the local government down to the state to where we are today, are people feeling it? The way the president is saying it? We are not feeling it. We still go to the market. School just resumed. How many families have been able to send their children back to school as we talk? Because of they cannot afford it. So if the president wants to be sincere to Nigerians, he should not even be talking about since the coming of APC, 10 years of APC. Nigerians are even saying, before APC government, take us back to where we are. That's what Nigerians are saying. So if the president is talking about 10 years of APC government that APC have they met, who was there before he came in? And what did he tell Nigerians when he was coming? That he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped. And we know that Buhari, if it is possible to erase 8 years of Buhari's administration out of this nation, we would have done that because he brought us to his knee.
He said our administration inherited a near-collapsed economy caused by decades of fiscal policy distortions and misalignment that had impaired real growth. He admitted it.
When the economy of Buhari administration collapsed in total, the former governor of my state said it, Obaseki said it, that this country is printing money. That's what they are now sharing in Abuja. They now said he was talking rubbish, because he was in opposition. Then PDP, why should the PDP governor come and be talking about the economy of APC government? They've forgotten that APC, whether APC or PDP, we are talking about the generality of Nigerians. In this situation. Buhari was printing money. They came up with a bogus language and started calling it ways and means.
Yes.
Nigerians now got confused. People were now thinking of ways and means. Emefiele was doing it for Buhari, and everything was going on. That plunged us to 20-something trillion naira printed to start supporting states. States began to borrow money. They cannot even pay their staffs again. They were not coming bailout. They now started having what they call bailout fund for states to pay salaries. Obaseki said it. Governor Obaseki said this money they are giving us a bailout to pay salary is being printed and it has economic implications. That's what he said he met on the ground. If you are telling us you met something on the ground that was, imposed on us by an APC government that you inherited, you took over from, should we be clapping for you? This is APC government that has come to collapse this nation. So we are expecting the president to do more, not coming to start reeling out statistics
and he never said anything
that are not affecting us. He's only praising his government.
He never chastised
He's only
the previous
praising his government, and it's not his government is praising. Nigerians are not feeling it. So if the president came in and was we were looking at, okay, the profligacy in Aso Rock is too high, let us begin to cut it, and the president says, okay, yes, I don't really need this, I don't need this. Nigerians would be applauding it, but we came in, started buying yachts, started buying changing his presidential jet, started renovating the VP house with 20-something billion naira. Where is that an economic plan for Nigeria? Does any of those one have any economic plan for Nigeria? So he's praising his government. That's why this morning I did not bother to listen to his speech, because I know what they're going to be telling. They're going to be telling us Lagos, Calabar, Coastal Highway, Sokoto, Badagry, and all that. Is that what we're talking about?
We need to open the phone lines, but very quickly. The president told us that his administration has redirected the economy towards a more inclusive path, channeling money to fund education, healthcare, national security, agriculture, and critical economic infrastructure such as roads, power, broadband, and social investment programs. Now, in all of this breakdown, I don't know if there is in statistically there is anyone in the past 2.5 years that has kind of supposedly blossomed. For example, for agriculture, food is very expensive. The farmers say they can't go to farm because of insecurity. For healthcare, I'm sure you saw what happened to the Arise TV reporter very recently. She, while trying to run away from the armed robbers, she fell from the story building. She went to the hospital. They did not give her any immediate attention. As a government hospital, they said they needed identification and all of that. There was no immediate nothing. They did not pay attention to that. We also had a situation of a pregnant woman who died at the hospital as well. She was not properly taken care of. She was malnutrition. A lot of things happening in that sector. The president said he has provided some subsidy in the healthcare. So if you want to go and do cesarean operation, if you go to any of the government hospitals, you can do it free. We've not heard testimonials of anyone who has been able to have access to that. In terms of infrastructure, roads, broadband, and social investment programs, can you tell us which of the viable social investment programs since he came on board that has become active and that has been impactful?
From me, I'd rather say all what Mr. President has just said. Not all can be seen or can be visibly seen or noticed. When you come in terms of healthcare, I know of I think 3 hospitals. Okay. That is Lagos University Teaching Hospital, where he has given them a lot of money to refurbish the place and install satellite solar system. In fact, their oncology department now is one of the best in the world. So I know another one which is University of Calabar Teaching Hospital. I think so. In fact, the 3 hospitals just used as a pilot program. Okay. And I know after his tenure, those things may go back. The way to the rot they were before. Then if you begin to talk of education, I think this policy on education is not too good.
But that's one of his priorities for this government.
But that is not giving loan is not the problem. How about the cost of textbooks? How about the cost of taking care of the lecturers? How about the cost of materials of sustaining your education? It's like you give me loan at this or with this hand, and with the other hand, you are collecting it. In those days, at least when I was in secondary school, I schooled in Lagos. Yes, if you are going to school, you have a free ride, LSTC. We take you free. We're staying at Ikeja, and my secondary school is at Sulere. So once you are uniform, free ride to school. And if at all later when the program was becoming expensive, you have to pay. We began to pay from quarter to half. Introduce all those things into the system, and you see, you see, Nigeria is so easy. The people are so easy to govern. IBB said it. Other governments Other heads of state have said it. Give us power. Give us good road. Let there be security. We will survive. But not now. You see some of them, greed coming in. A governor will retire, and we want to claim the whole state resources. A state resources for his severance package. Is that ideal? Let them begin to remove their retirement benefits. How can a governor, you have retired, after all the goodwill of the office, every 3 or 5 years you'll be renewing your vehicle, and not only one vehicle, 2, 3, your wives and your servants, and they all on the payroll of the state government. How will a government survive? We are practicing the one of the expensive system of government. The most expensive. We are even more powerful and richer than U.S. government. If you begin to compare how much they take home. So when you begin to cut down this, politics will be less attractive to people. It will no longer be kill, do or die affairs. It's going to be by those that have the interest and proficiency. And now we don't even have, most of our leaders, they don't have economic knowledge.
No, at all.
The economic, very, very porous. The economic, you may say they are not the one going to be doing all those things.
Because that's where the ministers come in. But the question of many Nigerians is, are you putting square pegs in round holes?
That is the problem. That is it. You may say the minister. At times, if the ministers, if you, the president, don't know, the minister can push anything to you. That was,
just sign it.
And we sign it. And that was what happened between Ezekwesili and Obasanjo, where they found it difficult to differentiate between history, social studies, and civil studies. And yet, the minister was arguing to the right, Obasanjo was arguing to the left. And at the end of the day, they spoiled history.
Thank God they are now back.
But when they realized the importance of it, they now have to. If Obasanjo had known the importance of that course, he wouldn't have expunged it, taken it off. Not knowing that every head of state, from either American head of state or even UK, you go back to study history and international studies. And even our military leaders, that thing they call NIPSS is history and international studies. That is what is. You can see that our head of state, after they say he is in Kosovo studying NIPSS. So what we need to do, let us go back, let us sit down at the round table. American state was like this until they sat down in Capitol Hall. I didn't say capital. There's a hall known as Capitol Hall.
Yes.
And they now redefined their statehood. And after they have taken that decision, up to date, that has been the pilot, the guide of the American state.
Now, let's come down to with Nigerians. Let me start from Barrister Zada. But can we sincerely blame all of Nigerians' problem on our leaders? We ordinary Nigerians, don't we have our part to play? Are we gullible as Nigerians? I mean, we as honor personalities, of course, we've been here, we've listened to Nigerians talk. I mean, as the station is VOP, Voice of the People, and you hear some comments that ordinary Nigerians, make, and you begin to wonder, this is why we have bad leadership, because even we as ordinary Nigerians, it looks like we can't identify good leaders when we see them. Our orientation, our mentality, they say the leaders come from us ourselves.
Yes.
But exactly. But can we sincerely attribute all of Nigerians' problem, both since independence to now, to our leaders?
Sincerely speaking, I think the leadership has to be held responsible because they've not been showing the right leadership. I'll just give you 1 or 2 examples. When the present administration came into power, one of the early things they did, apart from the purchase of aircraft, the purchase of a yacht, they went on to refurbish or rehabilitate the residence of the vice president, which cost how many billions, not millions. So, you see, a good leadership will not, in the present economic situation of the country, go to do certain things they are doing, like buying a new aircraft, buying a yacht, refurbishing or rehabilitating the vice president's quarters with billions of naira when people are hungry. Let me tell you something. If you go to London, the Prime Minister's house, 10 Downing Street, is a 2-bedroom apartment. Quote me, a 2-bedroom apartment. In fact, I wrote on it some years ago when Ete, that woman Ete, was the Speaker of the House of Reps. Mm. I had an article in the Nation and the Punch also. British Prime Minister's quarters, official residence, 10 Downing Street, is a 2-bedroom apartment. Over the time, if it were Nigeria, what would happen? Well, the Prime Minister stays there. It's not a permanent abode for the Prime Minister. You will just be there for the time you will be there. 4 years or 5 years or 8 years, you go away. Then 11 Downing Street, the residence of the Chancellor of the Exchequer, that's the Finance Minister, is a 3-bedroom apartment. They've been staying like that over time. But in Nigeria here, we go to spend billions of naira to renovate the residence of vice president. It is not reasonable. It is not fair. It is a political and economic rascality.
Some may say it's Nigerians that still vote them.
Yes.
You know, we even hear ordinary Nigerians these days says, "Well, if I get there, maybe I'll go follow chop too." Now their time made them chop too.
Yeah, I will not totally agree with the leadership failure that plunges us into where a people desire the type of leadership it needs. Nigerians themselves are culpable. You and I in this studio are culpable. You see, you made mention of 10 Downing Street and 11 in London. Today, if the Prime Minister comes in and say, I want to make it bigger, I want to be living like the king or the queen, the people will resist it.
They will protest.
Do you know that? They will resist it. But here, every dummy they throw at us, we accept it. Because we have become like them. We are now greedy. Leadership greed has set into us. I'm coming to where you are talking about that. When I reach DSF, myself, I go chop. Is that leadership greed? People are meant to resist what the leaders, throw at us that are not, palatable to us. That's why it is called democracy. Because the government does not belong to the leaders. It belongs to the people. If we are sincere enough, when the president is talking about, I want to change my aircraft, and it was everywhere, and most of this money are not budgeted. The president just find a way to make it become an abracadabra, and he buys it, and some of them are appropriated in the National Assembly, and you and I have representative in that National Assembly from your own constituency, and we now say, okay, so you are part of those that said the president must do this when we are not in support. We are calling you back. There's record in the constitution, but unfortunately, when they are doing all this, they will make it so cumbersome for you that before you can record that person, it becomes difficult. These are where people come in. This is where people should be part of the constitution that lead them. So I'm not really blaming the leadership in total. We also are also guilty of it.
All right, then. It's time for us to open the phone lines. This has been the special Independence Day news broadcast from the VOP news team. It's been going on since 12 p.m. We've had quite a number of messages on WhatsApp and comments on YouTube. We know you want to join the conversation. The phone lines have been buzzing. It's time for you to call and talk to our analysts. We've been getting messages on fantastic analysis. 0803-692-9933. 0803-692-9933. That's the number you can call to be a part of the conversation. You can send a message on WhatsApp or call us on WhatsApp 0817-175-6338. It's Mr. Awamiko's birthday today, by the way.
Mr. Owa, happy birthday! Happy
Thank
birthday!
you, thank
wow.
you.
So he decided to come and celebrate with us.
Independent daddy.
Independent birthday.
Yes.
All right then.
You can also talk to us via 0700-903-903. So talk to us.
The phone lines are open. Call. No, turn down the volume on your radio set. Good afternoon. Welcome to the conversation. Thank you for calling.
Ras, my name is Tula, calling for JB.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
If I think you go work, God bless you, people appreciate you. I wish you an analyst your birthday, happy Independence
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for my own opinion, that no time for this country. We have been fixing, but our leaders, no one use them well. Imagine you go use how many things God give us free. You get oil, you get mineral, you get good. What you no get? So now to task masses make you say they try for hunger. My opinion, we are young and standing. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Michael calling from Ikosi.
Welcome.
Yeah, now I understand everything. I understand why a economic man has to be a president of this Nigeria. I understand. I love the program. I love it.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate you calling. 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. And you can send your WhatsApp messages on 0817-175633. Turn down the volume of your radio, please. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Sir. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, this is Martin from my girlfriend.
Welcome, sir. Please go ahead. Happy Independence to you.
And to every one of you there.
Thank
I'm
you.
very delighted at the program you just presented to us this Independence Day. It has been very, very impactful in terms of knowledge, history. And among the guests also, I salute you, most especially the history man that gave us some download of history. God bless you. Anyway, I know I don't have much time, but let me say this. The brain of this nation, Nigeria, lies squarely on the leaders. Unfortunately, we don't have leaders. We have rulers. I want to give you a classical example. People might misbehave, but when a true leader emerges and show for the way, people will follow. Very, very clear. Secondly, when you talk of recalling legislative members, in Nigeria, does it really work? Do you really need to? It doesn't work. Otherwise, many of us would have recall a lot of people. It doesn't work. They put a lot of impediments so that these things cannot work. That is why we must find a way to actually, find a way to correct our legislative arm of God.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Esther. Good afternoon, Solomon, and good afternoon,
Choma Innocent.
Thank you.
the guests and every other person.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm just listening to you. I've been listening to the program.
Yes, sir. Your
and
name,
things
your name.
keep cropping in my head.
Your name, sir, and where you're calling us from?
Yes, we blame the leaders. Yes, we blame the people. But there is a particular sector in Nigeria that is culpable, and that is the judiciary, the lawyers. It's a shame that most of the people that perpetrate all this corruption are learned people. The same learned people will defend the corrupt people. The same learned people will perpetrate the corruption, and the same learned people will come and say, "Oh, this is the way it's supposed to be, and this is the way it's not supposed to be." It's a shame. People like NBA or whatever it's called, how come they are not sanctioning people who are found culpable to corruption? but they are still members of the benchers or whatever they call them, and they parade themselves as senior advocates of Nigeria, and they move around. It's just so sad.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's read some messages. Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Turn down the volume of your radio, please.
Yeah, thank you. Let me put it up.
Thank you.
Hello.
What's your name, sir? Good afternoon.
Tell me my name, Hannah, please. Please come down now. I love your program. I love my editing. Yes, there's somebody
Sir,
here.
you need to tell us your name, please. Hello.
My name is Onadrodi Kemmawan.
All right, sir. Welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's something somebody taught me, which I love so much. When he said it, the problem of this nation, you people is the one radio station now in this Nigeria. There's somebody invited me. Let me tell you, if there will be law that if something like this happens, if you leak it, they won't kill you. This nation will be good. But if you know something, like somebody who talk, there is a law to vote to bring the government, the House of Assembly, Senate back, but they don't progress, they don't announce it. You will never see. That is why the governors are getting upper hand. Now, from what you people are saying here, let them try to form a group of people that, not if you listen to what we are calling you, many people are calling, they don't understand what they will say.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. Welcome. Please, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Chooks. I'm calling from United Kingdom.
All right, Chooks, please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody in the studio.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't like when people come out and say the citizens have a role to play. The citizens don't have a role to play in Nigeria. Nigeria is designed for the rulers, and the rulers, they are ruling us. As simple as ABCD. You see, when a lawyer will come on TV to teach you and I the meaning of "and," then we know that this country is not designed for you and I. It's as simple as that. We know what happened 2023. The lawyers come on TV to tell us the meaning of "and." Tell me where it happens when somebody, the workers cannot even protest. They are banged down, they are talked down by the same lawyers, by the same people who are in authority. I mean, please, when we come here, we know it, you and I know it, that the citizens, there's nothing like citizen in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say this. It's so sad to say, but there's nothing like citizens in Nigeria. And that's why we're getting the type of treatment we are getting. So no matter who sit down there to tell us that we have a role to play, we don't have a role to play.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your call. We appreciate it. Hello?
My name is Matt. I'm calling from Uka.
Welcome. Go ahead, please.
The biggest problem in Nigeria today, the three arms of government, they are not working. It is only one arm, the executive, that is working. No, in the whole world, the three arms must work. Secondly, before you can get a perfect government, the senior president of Nigeria came for Nigeria and told us that he's going to approve whatever that is brought. That's scrutinizing it. And that is what he's doing.
Thank you. Thank you for your call. We appreciate
Hello,
it.
good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Margaret.
Welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, ma'am. Happy Independence Day.
That is it. Same to you. You have a robust house, though.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for giving us history, and bless the guys there. Happy birthday, Mr. Hoa. Long life and prosperity.
Amen.
More wisdom in Jesus Christ.
Amen.
My simple question or name question is, does the name has anything to do with the country? Because if I want to ask my teacher, my history teacher in the class, I'll ask him, what is the meaning of Nigeria? because we give our children names as concerning what is going on or what we want the child to be. Does Nigeria, what is the meaning of Nigeria? This is my simple question, an honest question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Mr. Omiko, what's the meaning of Nigeria?
That's good. Nigeria is a name. I think it's an the Arab words, and that Arab word means black, and it's gotten from the river Niger, and which is a river. It means river of rivers, because it was named after River Niger. And if you probe further, you discover that it is a land flourishing of good. That's the meaning of the word Nigeria. That word, that's what a land. It was derived from the River Niger. When they say River Niger, which is in Niger, in fact, we call it Nigeria or Niger. But the other where the water, where the river comes from, which is the Futajelan Island, calls it Nigeria.
So the name Nigeria is derived by its territorial
river. That River Niger.
Just the river.
Yes,
the attribute.
Yes.
Doesn't have any meaning in itself.
It means,
like what I'm reading now.
It means, okay, what we read. It means a land water. River, king of rivers.
It's just like area.
King of rivers. That is the real meaning of that Niger.
And the complexion of the people.
And the complexion of the people. Because if you look at the river, only that as it's coming to Nigeria, it carries silt.
Okay.
So they colors it.
Okay.
If you see it, if you begin to watch River Niger from Onitsha, it looks bluish because it's nearing the Atlantic Ocean. But where it's coming from, it looks black. Because of the volume of water it's carrying. It's like if you go to Badagry Beach, if you see Badagry Bridge, it's still raw. If you look at it from a first angle, it looks black. In fact, you will even be afraid to near it because of the quantum of water it's carrying. So same thing is applicable to River Niger. So the people called it black.
Wow.
And now when they begin to use it in a sentence, that blackness does not mean the people there were poor, because it gave them fertility in terms of their land, gave them fish, served as means of transportation, gave them life. Just like we say, without Nile, there is no Egypt.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon.
It means a land flourishing of good.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miko. Hello.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. What's your name?
Okay, I greet your guest. I greet you. My name is Prince from Agopalato.
All right, Prince. Go ahead.
I heard somebody saying, talking about calling back our legislature. The other person said that we don't have 3 forms of government. And if you look at it very well, it's more or less very truthful.
The person said we don't have any functional arm of government, only the executive arm is what is functional.
It looks so. Because a situation where executive who are doing the paymasters are dictating the pattern of the dance. So but the one thing I even come to bring our mind to here is that our military, our security agents are not helping us. Because if you now want to recall anybody now, the place where they gather to sign out, to put their signatures in the name of bringing back the legislation that that same legislature will pay security men to scatter them. Before you know it, it will not. So the situation is very dicey. It's only if God will, or if God will help us to get good INEC report as
thank you.
INEC people, because just like it happened in Abia State, I don't know whether I'm God who I've been waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you for your message. It was the people that voted, and
everything will depend on God.
God, that's where we are missing it in this part of the world.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
Everything God.
to help all out. I do tell you this, what a fantastic and unequivocal analysis.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I think this is a station that really airways now because of quality and the people program to be presented on daily basis. Not the station that is creating this administration. Look, this country, I don't know at 55, what people say independent. I don't know what to say. Because at 55, you cannot have uninterrupted electricity. What is the benefit to government is complete 79 if you are still talking about it? And that is when our world.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at some of the messages we have here on WhatsApp. First message, good day VOP. Awolowo introduced free education in 1955, the first television in Africa and some European countries. That's from Oba. Okay, what do we have here? Let me just, I'd leave the fact of history and dive into questioning common sense. Over the years, Nigeria has proved incapable of organizing itself. It is why a country like South Africa is far developed with beautiful structures and environment, because the white state versus Nigeria that only has colonial buildings standing till today, while those built by Nigerians collapse. People always claim that Nigeria were once together and wise. How can anyone continue to blame the British for dividing Nigeria based on tribe when only it's when really it's what's always been from the time. What you see today, which we call tribalism, my tribe first, is just a continuation of how people lived pre-colonial era. Can you say a man was once wise and later foolish based on condition over the years, or can you say that man has always been foolish but pretending to be wise, and so he has been exposed based on condition over the years?
Hey, that day, this day, I watch her.
Yes, the guy perfectly right.
I'm telling you.
Chioma, today's 1st October is my son's birthday. Master Miracle Naza Owo from Daddy Elder Deacon Owo Mafuluku. Should they happy birthday
to your son.
Hester, good afternoon. Please send my greetings to my love, Chioma. I have nothing to contribute. And
We are celebrating independence. They love.
Good afternoon, Hester. I mean, independence, you can also attribute it to love. Good afternoon, Hester, and all the people in the studio. My own take on this is that our president is not the economist, is not an economist. All he focuses on is to buy jet, buy yacht, and build houses for himself and family. Please tell our president that people are hungry and people are dying. Since I was born, I'm hearing up NEPA. Up till today, I'm still hearing up NEPA. The case of corruption is just a child's play in this country. I'm Mr. Fred from Lagos. May God bless Nigeria. Good day, VOP. Tinubu removed subsidy meant for the masses. He's now giving the money to governors there by making the governors richer at the expense of the masses. What exactly did the president ask the government to do with those monies? Can any individual go to a governor and ask him what he's doing with the monies? Nigeria is now a pyramid upside down. Ola from Egbeda. Please, house kindly. Okay, yeah, the phone lines are open now, so just call or send your messages via WhatsApp. Good morning, this morning VOP. How are you feeling today? Esther and Choma, I greet you at all at the studio. May your good work continue to shine bright. I love you all. We love you too. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, all of you in the studio. It is disheartening to see and hear what is happening in this nation. At this time, we start holding our leaders accountable for their actions. They must not act anyhow they like and go scot-free. Enough is enough. Chude from Ayetoro. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, VOP team and the guest. One of our democratic problem can be traced to how our political leaders emerge at the grassroots.
Yes. That's
where
right.
in most cases they are forced on the people against their wish. When such candidates eventually get to the office, what do you expect? On the issues of recall, our politicians are more guilty than the populace, as they would frustrate all move to make it a reality. Larry, thank you very much, Larry. Good afternoon, Esther Wachuku, Chioma Innocent, Solomon of M, and the guests in the studio, Solomon Asika from Mushi. In fact, I really enjoyed the history down memory lane, most especially concerning the Igbos. I greet you all and thank you for bringing these guests.
Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen in the studio. I am Ikechuku Patrick from Lagos. I've really been enjoying this program since morning, and now where the hatred from the Nigerian government to the Igbos man began. Talking about the president's speech today, it's just all about campaigning for 2027. Please, why would the president tag IPOB as terrorist organization while they keep negotiating and giving chieftaincy titles to bandits who have killed and displaced millions of Nigerians from their homes? Good afternoon, Esther, and everyone in the studio. 65 years, nothing to show. Corruption everywhere, bad leadership everywhere. Chooks from Isheri. Esther, stop telling people happy independence. Nothing good about it. Judy from
Do you want sad independence?
good afternoon, VOP. Please tell Tinubu to return us back to PDP days when we have rest of mind with only 10k in your pocket. This APC time, 10k is worthless. Francis from Adeniyi. Good afternoon, Esther. My primary school teacher told me that Nigeria was gotten from Niger area, hence Nigeria, from Dr. Joe Mekiluwa. Different theories. Greetings, VOP family. I think Nigeria was not structured by Britain to develop. Please, can you tell us why the army struck in 1966? Was it not due to corruption? Till now, we are all paying lip service to corruption. No government is interested in fighting corruption. The masses are also not ready. NBA is just pretending. Same lawyers that analyze, criticize, complain, and condemn corruption are the ones defending corrupt leaders and individuals in the court. If we are serious, NBA can draw a line for lawyers defending corruption in court. When we are ready, we will take back our country. Amechi from Mafuluku. Good day, house. I wish somebody in Nigeria and Nigerians will truly have independence. Sheikot from Itire. I don't even know what Sheikot. You're always a comedian. Good afternoon, VOP. We are running to unitary system of government, and we are at the same time expecting to reap the benefits that are peculiar to that of true federalism. Nemesis from Ogun State. Good afternoon, VOP News Crew. I personally appreciate this segment, very educative and informative. I wish you people would do this maybe once a week. My contribution. My contribution is based. My contribution is based on the question Too Handsome asked Mr. Tony Mba in the morning. He asked, what will you do if you are to be Nigeria president in a week? He said he should organize a meeting for us to determine whether we should be together or not. If the answer is yes, then we look into our constitution and organize it the way it will favor all Nigerians. Regional rule is the only solution. Thanks, Vincent aka Botwai from Mushi. And good afternoon to you all. VOP, you are number one. Real men are in the studio. Emeka from Ejibo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. VOP and a wonderful crew. Thanks for your deep knowledge of Nigerian history. Granted all you said about us is true as a country. How can we change the narrative so we can get the country back running? Or do we wait for our nationalists to resurrect before fighting righting the wrongs? Tony Aniele Ejagemo. Should I continue?
Yes,
okay. Happy independence to you all. Great Nigeria, great. It always surprises me when intelligent people are talking based on experience. Some people are talking like a program's robot. God bless my country. Even in independence, they are still playing their tribal politics. Good afternoon, VOP. Let people know that the so-called increased FAAC allocation is audio because devaluation and inflation has taken away the value of Naira. Chima from Surulere. Which way Nigeria 65? I greet you all. Happy Independence Day to Chioma and others in the studio. NBJ. I'm Dele Ajayi from Ilupeju, a decade older than Nigeria. Together we will build a better Nigeria. Grudges won't take us to anywhere. I wish Nigeria happy celebration. Good afternoon, VOP crews. Nigeria is not working. The present government has ruined the country with bad policies. Cost of living, transportation and accommodation are very high. Emma from Lagos. Okay, Nigerians are not complaining. They love palliative system of government.
All right, let's take more calls. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon or welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. What's your name, please? Hello.
My name is Benson from Ikotu.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Can anybody in the studio tell me one single thing that civilian administration has built in Nigeria since they started ruling civilian government? All the major things done in Nigeria was done by the military. Name them. Is it the national security? Is it the bridges? Even the one that Wike went to.
Oh, sorry.
Wike went to renovate.
You're going to call us back. We can hardly hear you. Call us back. We can't hear you.
The line keeps breaking.
08036929933. That's the number. 08036929933. Turn down the volume of your radio, please.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma.
I will just to everybody in the studio.
Thank you.
My name is Madam Sisa. I'm calling from Marwa.
Okay. Welcome, ma.
Yes, ma'am. So what I want to contribute to this discussion, I so much enjoy the history. I hope they will integrate it into the school system that we will know our roots and stuff of how this Nigeria originated. Secondly, if the government is doing well, it's not the government that trusts himself, it's the people. For example, that of OT in Abia State, when Tinubu visited there yesterday to go and commission something, there's one APC chieftain that is condemning what OT is doing. He said all those things it was done by Ipazu. Meanwhile, it's OT that has done all those things. I don't know why we don't appreciate what, especially this APC, they don't see what to do in another opposition governor that is doing better. We should try and know what we are looking for in this country. We, the masses, we are the problem too. We support all these people stealing our money. We don't speak with one voice. They will be supporting. They will say, if it's Igbo man, Yoruba man will talk. If it's Igbo man will talk. They will do tribalism into matters that doesn't make. Nigeria, we also supposed to put voice 2027. We sit up and remove all the ones who are not doing well.
Thank you.
So we can vote and speak for us. God bless you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, ma. Hello. Afternoon. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for staying on the line. What's your name, sir?
Hello. Am I on?
Yes, you're on, sir. You can speak. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Adisa from Oshodi.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me clearly?
Very
Yes,
well.
please.
Very well.
Okay, thank you. You see, when one of your guests has, one of your presenter has one of the guests that the government we are meant to be blamed for everything. The first man that respond, I love his response. He said the citizens has no single fault in the menace that is affecting this country. You see, the Nigerian system were designed to defraud its people. And then when the other guy said Nigeria cannot resist, how well do you want to resist? When Tinubu came to power, they started buying yachts, they started buying presidential jets, and then Nigerian complains a lot that this is not the right things to do. But then the government go ahead to get those things. When the money is with them, the power is with them. How do you resist people that force things on its own citizens? And do not forget, Tinubu's wife, Remi Tinubu, is said in one of this thing that, look, we are rich. We are not coming to squander government money. My husband is already made. but only for them to come to power and to start looting the state treasure. So Nigeria is beyond redeemed. When we rely on these corrupt 1999 constitutions, nothing will come out of it. Nigeria is in a sorry situation. The judiciary, that one is even totally collapsed. That one is not functioning. Based on one guy said that the trims arm of government, the judiciary is totally collapsed. So we have a situation in this country whereby things are not functioning, and then there is little or nothing the citizen can do. And that is the reasons why I think the only solutions majorly for this country is revolutions. Just like this guy has been saying in Shore. And because the government of the day does not have any active opposition. And when there is no active opposition in the country, the government will tend to misbehave. And that is what is happening in the country.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for calling.
And ships.
All right, our time is fast spent and it's almost time for us to go. This is 11 minutes before 3 p.m. We've been on this since 12 p.m. Sir Elvis Alimehele, thank you so much. Mr. Awa Omiko, you've been amazing. And Barrister Sebastian Ozana. Before we go, we'd like to take your concluding thoughts on everything we've discussed. Nigeria pre-independence, post-independence, and now. Where does it look like we are going? Does it look like we are going anywhere at all? Are we heading for anarchy or are we heading for a better life? Many Nigerians just want to live better. They want to be able to go wherever they want to in this country without fearing for their lives. So we'll take it one after the other. 1 minute. Mr. Elvis, let's hear from you. Your concluding thoughts.
Thank you, Choma. We can get it back and we can get it right. Anybody that is talking about Nigeria, we don't have a role to play in our government is missing it. We hear of Bangladesh, we hear of Sri Lanka, we hear of South Africa, we hear people fought to get to where they are today, even in the US. We still remember Martin Luther Jr. We read their history, and you are coming to tell me that we don't have a role to play, and you vote for these people that are they up to 10% of Nigeria population that plunge us into where we are. We have the bulk to do, and we should be working towards that. Another election is coming in 2027, and we are here. I was here in this studio when we were waiting for IREF result. We are here that morning waiting. When it never came, we swallowed it.
IRF result.
There was no IRF, we swallowed it. We had June 12. We fought military. This so-called democracy, I was in final year. I lost 6 months. I lost a session when we were fighting June 12, 1993. Then today somebody is telling me that Nigeria is designed in such a way that we don't have a right. Nigerians cannot fight. Nigerians can fight. Only we have been divided by the military, by the politician, tribals division and religion division. We should shun it. We were students. We said no. Today we have democracy. Do they even know how this democracy came about? That Abdul-Salam had to hand over within 9 months of his administration. May 29 is not a relevant date in Nigeria. He left because the fire was on him. We needed this democracy. Today the politicians that we said we need, democracy we need, politicians are scuttling it for us. We are saying, and Nigerians are saying we don't have a role to play. Is there any country that is designed by politicians for the politician not to have gain? Every politician is talking of his own gain. He's talking of his own self. Selfishness is the first characteristic of a politician. It's the people that manage them, people that curtail them. Trump would have taken America into a third world generation, but people are there regulating him. My people must fight for institution to work in this nation. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Mr. Elvis.
You can't tell me that we don't have a role.
Thank you, Mr. Elvis. Barrister, let's come to you. Let's get your concluding thoughts on what we discussed today.
I'm very unhappy that the president did not talk about security. He just ran away from security.
No, he said security, that we're doing well.
We're not doing well security wise.
Winning the war.
And we're winning the war.
No, we're not winning the war at all. We're not winning the war at all. He should think better about security. Recently he said that state policing now is the way to go, because there's no country in the world today that don't have state police.
He keep pronouncing it, but not done anything about it.
Discuss it now. You cannot have a federation without state police. All over the world, we have what is known as the Forum of Federations, made up of 27 countries. It is only Nigeria, who is a member, that they don't have a state police. all other members of the Forum of Federation have state police for proper and effective policing of the country. So we should think in that direction.
Talking like a former police officer.
Thank you, Mr. Awa Omiko. Thank you for coming into the studios today. We usually talk on phone. I've known Mr. Awa Omiko for 2 years. This is the first time I'm seeing him. He's been amazing.
Mr. Awa, you need to write a book.
Whenever we call him, he always responds. So thank you and happy birthday to you as well. Let's get your concluding thoughts on what we are discussing today, please.
As small as Britain is, Britain has a local police.
To the mic.
And it's called as small as Britain is, Britain has a state police called Askari.
Are you talking about UK?
Yes, called Askari. Yes. So when you begin to talk of Askari, it means they're local police. So and it's equally an English word. So you can once we cease to be docile, we can take back this country. Where we need to participate fully so that we take back right from day one, we are nominating somebody to represent us.
I think the fear stems from NSAS, where the youth try to resist, and of course we know
because
how that happened. I think lots of the young people are afraid now.
Sir, NSAS was not properly organized.
Well, some
take back to 1993. You can see what the citizens did 1993. You can even see that IBB was equally afraid despite this Maradona tactics
and military might.
And this military might, he was afraid. And if you look at it, was the citizens that chased Lord Lugard away from Lagos to Lokoja. So citizens have their rights to play, and we need to start beginning from the grassroots to say yes or no to corruption. Let's start it from our children, from the families, from all our institutions. We are sick because all our institutions are sick. Everybody is calling MBA. Is it only MBA? MBA is sick because there is no due legislation. Finally, we should cease. We are practicing. We are wearing the toga of federalism while we are practicing unitary system. We think unitary while we live in federal system.
While we are also practicing a democracy that have K-leg.
Yes, our democracy should be African based, should be domesticated, not the type they practice in UK. If you look at democracy all over the world, they are not the same. UK has their own variation. America has their own variation.
Australia, Canada.
They have their own variations.
Even France.
So we should develop our own variations and let it work. Thank you.
Barrister, sir, your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, he's spoken. Just like I think I've known him for years now. This is the first time I'm seeing him in 3 years too.
Thank you. We really need to thank you.
We used to patronize Gallas.
Thank you so much for coming around. Thank you for always responding when we call on you. Many times the listeners don't even know what it takes for us to try to get across to political analysts that they love to listen to so much. So we thank you for supporting us. We thank you for lending your voice, and we'll continue to do everything we can to ensure that Nigeria works in our lifetime. This has been the special Independence Day broadcast from the VOP News team. Thank you for joining us, for your calls, your messages. We do appreciate you. My name is Chioma Innocent.
I am Solomon of FEM.
And I'm Esther Wachuku. Now let me still do.
Don't they go out? So happy Independence Day, Nigeria. Remember, you have
be right back at 6
and 7 to 9.
Wow.
So make now the PTS start today. Take it easy on her. No shots for her, my beg. Thank you so much. Fun house time with MC Chooks and Dr. Walkie Talkie will be coming up shortly. Have an amazing day and happy Independence Day, Nigeria.